season on the line, 4th and 11. Butka looking downfield, throwing, incomplete, broken up at the 10-yard line. And Old Bridge is headed to the NJSIAA Central Jersey Group 5 Championship game.
There's one in the flat. Good catch that time by Ransom. Ransom with a lot of room. And a good block by Delonzo down the field. And Ransom is gone. 57 yards to the house. 2-2.
Swung on and miss. Strike 3. St. James Smithtown has done it. They are the 2025 New York State Little League Baseball Tournament champions.
Drops back, throws all the way to his right. Has a man down the field, and he's got him! First play of the drive, touchdown, New York Green Wave!
Seinäjoki's season on the line. Goal to go from the 2. Kyles looks to run with it. Pitches it to Sip. He grabs it. He's in for the touchdown.
The final 25, and they're neck and neck. Kane looks like they have just a dash of a lead. Salisbury taking first. What a race.
We kick off week 4 of our PDF Game of the Week series. These are the 2 teams that were picked by the coaches to finish 1 and 2 in the Maple League this year. So far, they've lived up to those expectations with a combined 4-1 record coming in. Dave, let's take a closer look at the Maple League standings as we begin week 4.
Yeah, absolutely, Joe. We'll put them up on the screen now. It's early in the season, but we can already see how a game like this can impact the standings. Right now, Porvoo is in a 3-way tie for first place, and with a win to stay undefeated, they put considerable distance in the win and loss column over this Kuopio team that you just mentioned. The teams, as you just mentioned, they were predicted to finish right behind each other in the standings, 1 and 2. A win by Kuopio in their return home today, and they actually leapfrog over the Butchers in the standings, and the Butchers could find themselves in as low as 4th place after today, and then chasing the standings the entire rest of the way, especially considering how good the Giants have looked at 1 and 2. And of course, you can never really count out the Roosters. So it's early season, Joe, but this is a big game. And you know what, Joe? We'll take a look at the Butchers right now as, they're on the field and have taken up space there. The Butchers, it's a big game for them because I think that game against the Saints, the first game that we covered, we expected a big win from them at home coming off the championship and undefeated season. And then you have the Giants who, yes, have improved, but they weren't a playoff team last year and just avoided relegation. So then how do you truly measure this team? This game is the one on the road against the team that really put a big scare into them last year. Sure, the lineups have changed a bit. The cast and crew is a little bit different, but these 2 teams were picked to finish 1 and 2 in the standings, Joe, for good reason. They're talented, they do what it takes and know how to win games, and most people expect these 2 teams to be in the playoffs this year. So this could be the first of 3 meetings this year, so they'll need to play their best game in 2026 to stay undefeated.
They sure will, and we got our first look at the Butchers back in week 1 against the Tampere Saints. You see the Butchers schedule on the screen as well. Porvoo took care of business in that game against the team they were expected to beat. A bye the following week, returned to action against the Giants, and this time they were pushed to the limit by a new-look East City team that you've already mentioned is a very strong 1 and 2 to begin the season. And, of course, we got our first look at the Steelers last week. So our first impressions of Kuopio are fresh in our minds, and I think we can both agree that the Roosters certainly could have won that game against the Steelers last week, but as many mistakes as Helsinki made in the red zone last week, the Steelers still needed to capitalize on those mistakes, and they did just that. Thanks in large part to the Roosters' miscues, the Kuopio defense did shut out the Roosters in the second half of that game, and their offense seemed to improve steadily throughout the game as well. What did you like about the Steelers' performance last week, and what are some of the things that they did last week that this Butchers team may not allow them to get away with this time?
Well, I think you nailed it, Joe. They got better as the game went on. They just looked more and more comfortable. And you could say that about the season in general. A tough loss in week 1 against their former quarterback and the Giants, but they looked a lot more at ease against the Saints. And then the nice rebound against the Roosters. What I really liked about them, Joe, was their ability to be multi-dimensional. The run game, the short and medium passing game, Jarman running the option, and defensively, their ability to tighten up on 3rd and 4th down. It wasn't the most polished win, Joe, but for a team with a lot of roster turnover at key positions especially, they're coming into their own, and maybe now is the perfect time for them to be at home against a team like the Steelers, against a team like the Butchers, I should say.
Saints. And Dave, I have to admit, we had on-field audio come in, and it jumped into my headset right as I was about to speak. We have a direct line from, I believe, either the public address or the commentary. You mentioned that a bit earlier. But before we kick off in this game, let's quickly take a look at other matchups on the schedule in the Maple League this week. First, we have the Crocodiles and the Saints, a point that I was about to make before the other audio came in, and I'll have to take that off for a minute. A game that we would expect St. Aoki to win based on early season performance. However, the Saints did play a close game against the Royals last week, and by my estimation, Tampere is very much playing to keep their season alive. And speaking of teams fighting for their lives here in Week 4, the Roosters will take on the Giants in the first of 2 meetings between those teams during the next 3 weeks. I mentioned it last week, but if either East City or Helsinki can sweep those 2 games, it puts the other team in a position where they will have a steep hill to climb entering the final month of the season. 2 quick questions for you, Dave. First, is that game a must-win for the Roosters? And second, have the Giants done enough to warrant them being in the same conversation with all of the 2-win teams, despite a record of 1-2 to start the year?
Well, Joe, let me start with answering your 2 questions first. Yes and yes. I think the Roosters have to win this week in order for them to stay alive. Remember, they have to be better than 3 other teams to make the playoffs. And being 2 games back of the Giants, who would still be on the outside looking in with a win at 2-2, that window is nearly closed if they go to 0-4. And they have a lot of tough games ahead of them. And quite frankly, Joe, I like the Giants in that game. Both teams are technically at home, and the Giants offensively have been really good. Even if that game against the Crocodile, even in that game against the Crocodiles, they moved the ball. They just couldn't get that last play down pat. They did last week, though, in that loss to Porvoo. They hope they can get enough, they hope they have enough to get through the Roosters tomorrow, obviously. And as for the Crocs and Saints, Joe, it's going to take a big performance for the Saints to take that game, but the Crocs haven't played in a good little while now. So maybe there's some rust there that they'll have to shake off, and, maybe the Saints can take advantage. Either way, we have a great week of games to choose from. I think this will be one of 3 this week that will be good, and we're just about ready to start.
Certainly excited to call this one. Entering the week, we had to decide whether or not we would stay with this game or potentially shift our focus to what you just called a must-win for the Roosters. I think I'm inclined to agree, but we are right where we want to be, and we have kickoff from Kuopio, Finland, as that one is scooped up inside the 10-yard line, and breaking it toward the outside was the return man. And Dave, already, I don't believe I have a number 6 on my roster, so you'll have to help me out with some of the players that are missing on my roster sheet.
Well, number 6 for the Steelers is Joshua Mack, Joe, and he gets that one up to the 28-yard line. So the Steelers will have the ball first, and we'll get to see what their offense can do here. The boys in white with the red and black trim.
All right. Have that added into my roster sheet. If there are any other omissions, I will let you know. But it is the Steelers offense taking over for the opening drive of the game, led by quarterback Slade Jarman. And as I mentioned during the pregame, this is an offense that steadily improved throughout their outing against the Roosters. Jarman throws over the middle. That is complete to Mack, and he's brought down by a trio of Butchers at the 40-yard line.
Yeah, absolutely. Good play to start things off. Joe, you are a little ahead of me on the play, so I'm going to ask you to pause your feed about a half second, if you would, while we stay live here. And I have a problem here, Joe, is I am not getting field audio into our broadcast. I hear it coming out of my native source, but I just haven't been able to bring it into our broadcast here, even though it was successful a little bit earlier. So I'm going to work on that in the background as well.
You also have on the scoreboard the logos from our last live stream.
Ah, okay. So let's get that off and clear that up as well.
This particular game file had a very unique audio. to my headset as if I was in the facility in Kuopio. Handoff to Mack on 1st and 10 from the 40, and that's a nice gain of about 7 out to the Kuopio 47-yard line. And the Steelers' offense is picking up right where they left off last week as they hurry to the line.
Yeah, they want to work quickly as well, so that'll be something we continue to look at and see if that throws Porvoo off balance.
Jarman throwing downfield, and that is off the fingertips of his intended target, Daniel Rubenstein, and he did well to position his feet in bounds. You only need one here in the Maple League, but a nice job to recover in coverage by Rassie Littlejohn to knock that ball free.
Yeah, they're still going to work quickly here on this big 3rd down, so this is a big play here early in the 1st.
Quick throw over the middle, incomplete. That one behind the intended target. Santeri Juvonen, the intended receiver on the play, and no hesitation from the Kuopio sideline. They will punt on what would have been about 4th and 3.5 from the 47.
Yeah, so they decide to work quickly, maybe keep the Butchers off balance. It doesn't work to their advantage there on that drive, but there were some plays to be made. Unfortunately, couldn't complete it, but they should have been able to reverse the field here by getting this ball close to the 50.
Punt on the way, lands just outside of the 15, and it took a Butchers bounce before its touchdown by Marshall just outside of the Porvoo 20-yard line. Steelers, make that the Butchers, getting started at their own 21, and the Steelers defense takes the field for the first time.
Yeah, and we're going to see Donovan Isom, who we saw lighted up in the first game of the season. Joe, he's wearing a different number. He's wearing a number in the 40s today, so just keep that in mind. He's wearing number 49, and Christian Powell, of course, will join him in the backfield. Dynamic duo there for the boys in black.
Isom in the pistol, trips to the right of the formation, but he throws left, and that is immediately complete out to the 26-yard line on the reception. Zacharias Carbon.
Yeah, again, they will work quickly as well. The Butchers did this kind of all of last season and this season as well. We saw it in week 1. They will work quickly as well.
Once again, trips to the right of the formation. This time, Isom working out of the shotgun. And he will hand off to Powell. He bounces outside, working toward the far sideline. He has the edge. He's up the sideline, across the 45, and out of bounds, shy of midfield.
Yeah, Joe, you're still a little bit ahead of me on the broadcast, so you might want to pause just about a half second more there. But you're right. I mean, once Powell gains that edge, he's able to turn it up. And you mentioned that in week 1 is that he's not the flashiest of runners, but he's always moving forward with the football. Even when he's making cuts and rounding the outside, he's picking up yardage, and he's got the ball at the 45.
Shotgun look once again. It's a screen pass complete to the left. And Irola bounces off one tackle, reverses field, and he cuts up the center of the field and out across the 50. And a late flag does come in. I think there may have been a horse collar.
Yeah, just the way he was yanked from behind. I thought they either got, where his nameplate is or right on that collar. And that's going to give them a first down. He got about 8 on the play, but that should be enough to move the sticks and add some more yardage to this.
It looks like they're going to tack 15 on to the end of this play. And just like that, the Steelers defense backed up 15. The Butchers move deeper into Kuopio territory. And what has been a strong opening drive for the Butchers now sees them with the ball at the Kuopio 32.
Yeah, we do have our scoreboard back on with the correct decals there, so we apologize for that. Shameless plug for the Tri-State Warriors, who we covered in our last game.
Pistol look for the Butchers and a handoff to Powell. Powell patient running, has blockers. He's in the red zone, and he makes a couple more. Steelers miss before being forced out of bounds inside the 10-yard line. Goal to go for Porvoo.
Yeah, and watch the block by the left tackle on this play, Joe, as we try to get another look at it here before they run another play. But a good seal of the line coming up here, a good way to kind of seal the block and allow Christian Powell to gain that edge. A little bit of a pancake there on the left side of that line, springs him forward. Big first down. It's actually a 1st and goal here.
That is a pair of good, patient runs by Christian Powell. One bounce to the outside, taking up the sideline, another weaving through blockers. He gets another carry here on 1st and goal. And he is stood up at the line of scrimmage now, just to confirm. They did rule that 1st and goal, the ball just inside the 10. So it is now 2nd and goal.
Yeah, I noticed that. And now it's still at the 10. And that's what Kuopio needs to do. They need to get hands on Powell right at the line of scrimmage and stand him up, force those legs to stop, and then you bring in more resources to bring him down.
6 on the line here, including the tight end. And Isom will throw end zone. It's through the hands of Irola, who was wide open on the post route.
Yeah, absolutely. He had the lane. He had the inside, of that slant pattern, and Isom hit him right in stride, right where that ball needs to be. And that one just bounces off the shoulder pads of a normally sure-handed Lucas Irola. And that's one that he usually has. We're watching it in slow motion here, and it's one that the Butchers leave on the field. And just like last week, Joe, points left on the field. If the Butchers don't get 6 here, they'll look back on that play for sure.
Spread shotgun set, 4 receivers wide. Isom throwing left, and there was nothing there. Just a bad read on that particular throw. 3 Steelers in the area. It looked like he was trying to go right back to Irola.
Yeah, you wonder if that was supposed to be kind of like a rub route where one receiver, maybe the outside one stays in and the other one's supposed to kind of hang a post towards the outside pylon. But, we'll get another look at it here. No, it just looks like somebody didn't get the read right there. But fourth and goal, Joe, and they are going for it.
The Steelers defense found a way off the field several times in the red zone last week. They'll try again here on 4th down. It's a throw. Corner. End zone complete. Irola at the pylon makes the catch for a Butchers touchdown.
Wow, another perfect timing play, Joe. And just that ball, as soon as Irola broke out of his route, that ball was already coming towards him, and all he had to do was just complete the run, towards the sideline, and that ball met him right where it should be. All you need is a step and a half. Irola got it. That time hangs on to it, and 6 points for the Butchers as they go right down the heart of the field for the game's first score.
And the PAT attempt results in a bad snap through the hands of the holder. That was Hardakangas on the hold. It went through his hands. Tough to tell if that was the fault of the snapper or the holder. Either way, no PAT attempt, and it stays 6-0 Butchers.
Yeah, we'll try to get another look at it here and see what the actual problem was. Kind of hard to see on my screen, Joe, because of the small monitor that I have here, but we'll let you take a look at it and get another sense. It looks like a high snap, but one that probably should have been fielded.
I thought so, watching in real time, but I'm getting a second look at it now on a bit of a delayed feed here. That's a perfect snap.
Yeah.
He just didn't handle it. But how about that for a display of confidence in Irola? He had the drop touchdown. They went to him back-to-back plays after that, and he made no mistake on that 4th and goal from the 10. And it's a bit shocking how open he was when the Steelers knew that they had to pass the ball.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And, that it's a passing situation. You know that, Irola is one of their biggest target. In fact, he is their biggest target this season. And so single coverage, just hang us 10-yard and out, and the ball was there to meet him.
On the return, it's Rubenstein working up the near side, out across the 45, and out of bounds about 3 yards shy of midfield. So the Steelers will get great starting field position here on drive number 2.
Yeah, Rubenstein has that real, slippery speed there. He doesn't really look it. He's more taller in stature, more of a possession type receiver. But we saw him put on some afterburners last week as well in that big, I think it was 84-yard touchdown catch he had. And, he's able to spread the field, and that time saw a lane and gets it up to near the 50.
And Jarman will keep it on 1st down, and he really has a great play fake on those options. But a whistle comes in, and I thought maybe there was a flag out of the secondary, but
yeah, I don't know if we picked one up, but it looks like there might be something that we didn't see on the screen. Outside the frame, right? But and if anything, the
back
vision,
on the play.
Yeah.
And they picked it up.
Yeah. Okay, so
that play is going to stand, but Jarman really has been great on his ball fakes. And a point I wanted to make entering this drive, you mentioned the big play by Rubenstein. When the Steelers needed big plays last week, they delivered.
Yeah, they sure did. And I think Jarman, as the game went on, got more and more comfortable running the football as well. And it was a difference in that second half, for sure.
They'll throw a quick screen on 2nd and short. That one is caught by Isaac Marshall, who's forced out of bounds near the 40. That's good for a first down.
Yeah, there is a flag, though, that came out. It came out a little bit late on the play. So if this is a hold, it might have occurred upfield. But we'll get a ruling here.
That flag came flying in right as Marshall was forced out of bounds. So we'll see if this play is going to stand, and it will not. It's going to be a hold on Kuopio.
Yeah, and you gave us the call while we were watching the replay here, Joe, but indeed a holding on the Steelers. So we'll have to see where it occurred on the field, and then they'll walk it back 10 yards. It was a 2nd and 3.
It had to be on the lead block, wouldn't you think?
I would think so. It depends on whether Marshall already had the line of scrimmage, in which case they'll just move backwards from the spot of the foul. And it looks like, indeed, it'll be backed up and be like a 2nd and 9. So the penalty yardage is like 6 yards on the play.
That backs up Kuopio onto their own side of the 50. 2nd and 9, handoff up the middle. Mack, he has good blocking. He's across the 40, out across the 30, and finally wrapped up. Mickey Kaye did a good job holding on for dear life there, as Mack would have had a clear path to the end zone without his presence.
Well, we're getting our first look at Mack, and we'll try to sneak in the replay here before they run another play. We're not going to be able to. Let's get you back to live action.
Handoff to Mack, and this time Porvoo all over it. They stand him up at the line of scrimmage for no gain.
Now we'll look at that 2nd down and 9 play and get, our first look for Mack this season. He was not in that game last week that we covered against the Roosters, and looks like they've added another card in their deck, Joe, and he's dynamic.
Jarman throwing downfield, incomplete, too high, and good coverage on the play as well. Kawika, the intended target, and Nico Royko in coverage.
Yeah, we saw that from Jarman last week. He's not afraid to put that ball up on the sideline in open space, try to get his receiver to elevate and make a play. A bit of a misfire, but we mentioned it last week, Joe. Those passes have to be on a dime, basically, or on a dot. There's just a small window when you're working in that. But, Jarman has shown that he's not afraid to put it up there. This is a big 3rd down here. You'd like to think it's 4-down territory here from the 30-yard in.
I'd be inclined to say it is. Trips to the right, Marshall the motion man. They'll fake the pitch on the sweep, and Jarman is taken down. Big loss on the sack. Eunice Parainen comes in and wraps him up.
Yeah, Joe, and I think that's actually Guardine who got the sack there, number 98, and he was a monster in that first game for the Butchers as well. And the key here, Joe, is that he's not fooled. He's not fooled on the play fake there with Marshall coming across. That is a good, disciplined play by Guardine, and he had 2.5 sacks in that first game that we covered, and he's on the register for 1 here.
All right, I have Parainen as 98 on my roster. Guardine is 95.
Okay, so Guardine is wearing 98, Joe. I can confirm that for you.
Got it. And they'll fake on the punt, and they have a running lane. Is that enough for the first?
No, it got nearly to the original line of scrimmage, but that's all.
No chance there. And it's always so tough to gauge where the sticks are once the camera pans over toward the near side, but not enough for a first down there on the fake punt run. Pekarainen on the carry. And taking a look at the sticks.
Yeah, well, I'm
trying to see exactly how
first
close
down marker
they were.
First down marker was the 20, yeah.
Okay, so they were about 11 short.
Right.
Butcher's offense back out there, operating out of the shotgun, trips to the right. Isom hands off to Powell, surrounded by Steelers, and he is stood up. Did not have to absorb the hit there, as there were so many Steelers around, they simply stood him up.
Yeah, and again, your ability to get hands on him at the line of scrimmage is going to be critical, because then you could start your gang tackling. If you're letting him go and operate in open space and you're trying to arm tackle this guy, it's not going to happen. You have to be able to stand him up and wait for the cavalry to arrive. Steelers have done a couple of nice stops on him last couple of times he's run the football.
Spread shotgun set, ice zone with time, pump fakes, and takes it across the line of scrimmage for a short gain.
Yeah, I think he gets back to the original line of scrimmage here and does well to do that, because he was dead to rights there. And that's, again, a good job by the Steelers to stay kind of disciplined and in their lanes, not bite on the pump fake there by Isom, and he was only able to get 2 there.
That will bring up 3rd and long, officially a 3rd and 9. Isom back in the gun once again. Steelers looking to force a 3 and out. Isom will look to throw, looking right, throws that way, and Irola drops another.
Yikes, and that is not what we are used to seeing by Irola. Maybe he heard some footsteps behind him, Joe, but this is one that hits him right in the hands, right above the eyes, and that's exactly where you want it placed. And Porvoo will have to punt as a result, but this is a perfect pass. A nice route, too. You go to the sticks, you sit down in that zone and get ready to get it, to move the sticks and get a first down, but not to be. Another unforced error there for the Butchers, and that ends this drive.
Well, as they say here in the United States, Dave, big yikes. They did everything well on that play except complete the catch, and now Porvoo is forced to punt. This punt is going to take a Butchers bounce and a long roll down inside of the Kuopio 21-yard line, and that is where the Steelers will start their 3rd drive, the last one coming to an end on a 4th down punt fake.
Yeah, 100%. And, again, they would have had a 4th and manageable if not for that big sack on 3rd down that really disrupted that drive. It was their first negative play of the drive, too. And we talk about that a lot in the Maple League, is defensively, if you could force the opponent's offense into one big negative play, it's hard for some of these teams to crawl out of that framework, crawl out of that pothole, if you will. And so they couldn't on that drive.
Pre-snap motion man is Marshall, and they tried to set up a screen, but the Butchers are all over it. Jarman wisely puts that one into the turf.
Yeah, no choice there. And Jarman does the right thing, right? Because we see a lot of quarterbacks, hold on to the ball, maybe take a big sack there, or throw it into, a weird window and it gets picked off, or it gets tipped up in the air and bad things happen. But you take the safe play there, live to see another down. And again, the Butchers, with their commitment and staying home, they blow up that screen. They were not fooled.
Well defended by Porvoo. 2nd and 10 now for the Steelers. And they hand it off to Mack. Mack has no room, and once again, the Butchers stand strong up front. Mack unable to find his way through the line, no gain.
Yeah, we talked about the Steelers last week and how they want to stay, not committed to the run per se, but they at least want to keep it in the arsenal. They don't want to be that one-dimensional team. And so that's the reason why you run there on 2nd and 10. You try to get 4 or 5 and make this a 3rd and manageable. But this is a 3rd and a long 8, short 9 here. So interesting to see what they dial up.
3rd and long. It will be a throw from Jarman. Out of the backfield, it's Mack. Mack turns the corner, picks up the first down and more. He's across the 45, inside the 30, and down to the 25-yard line of Porvoo.
Well, this Mack kid is pretty special, isn't he, Joe? I mean, this is a simple play. You just run out into the flat. Jarman throws an absolute dart at him. It allows him to look up the field and survey and see where his best plan of attack is, and then he just does the rest with his feet. I mean, this is a perfect designed play, and Mack really does it all here, and very shifty, hard to tackle. Can't use those arms to tackle this kid. You better get around his midsection. That's a nice, healthy gain.
2 Butchers had a chance to bring him down, but Mack too fast. As Jarman rolls to his right and throws goal line, touchdown! Kuika from Jarman. And the Steelers are on the board. They've tied the score at 6.
Well, Jarman zipped it, and Kuopio just stopped his route, and that ball met him at the pylon. That's just a gorgeous play, and you follow one big play with another. They have the Butchers on the ropes there a little bit, and then they fire the knockout blow. Their single coverage, bottom of your screen, 1v1. It's not bad coverage, but again, that's a back shoulder throw. Kuopio stops his route at just the right time, and the ball meets him right in the midsection. Perfectly designed. And there you go, 6-6 on the board.
I think it's fair to say, Dave, this is a big play offense as that PAT is sent into orbit, but it is good. And Kuopio has their first lead of the night. It's 7-6 Steelers.
That's a nice response by the Steelers, and you can't forget, even though it was only 2 plays ago, Joe, 3rd down and 9, that play that Mack makes, on a pass that's, doesn't really hit the sticks. I mean, he has to make a good play there, turns it into about a 40-yard gain. Now you have the Butchers backpedaling on the ropes, not knowing what the Steelers are going to do, and Jarman with that left arm just throws an absolute rocket to the corner pylon, and Kuopio was there to meet it. Beautifully executed drive, a couple of really dynamic plays. Like you said, big play potential from this Steelers offense, and what do you know? It's a 7-6 game.
When you have a back that you can throw a swing pass to out of the offensive backfield on 3rd down and see that turn into a gain of close to 60 yards, that is a huge weapon for an offense. Then you have a quarterback with the mobility of Jarman and that big left arm, as well as receivers who can win those one-on-one jump balls. The offensive line, which in this game has opened up some big holes for Mack as well. This offense, to me, appears to be firing on all cylinders right now.
Yeah. The only shame of it is that they have to kick off and let the Butchers take over.
Yeah. Kickoff received by Porvoo inside the 10, and that is a nice tackle by Juno Vartanen. Going low on the return man, Mikko Seppänen, and the Butchers will start just outside of their own 20.
Yeah, it's early in the game, Joe. It's a 1-point game, but this is a big moment in the game for the Butchers too. Because the Steelers just hit them with a right hook, and let's see if they can get their run game established. Because right now, Christian Powell's had a couple of good runs in this first quarter, but the last 2 or 3 times he's had the ball in his hands, he's really been stood up at the line of scrimmage, and that's forced Porvoo into playing more of a long-range passing game. They made the big error with the drop last drive. Let's see how they respond.
Whistles come in before the snap.
Perhaps.
Delay of game.
Yeah. Well, that's not how you wanted to start.
Certainly not. Back them up 5, and that will bring up a 1st and 15.
Yeah, now they start inside their own red zone.
Pistol look, bunch to the left of the formation, fake handoff, Isom looking downfield, he's stripped. That ball is loose, and the Steelers are on top of it.
Wow, he was hit from behind, and that's what jarred the ball loose. Good heads-up play by the Steelers. And, I'm kicking myself, Joe, because I was thinking, this is a big moment in the game for the Steelers, too, to make a big defensive play. And if they can hold them here, and they did more than that. They forced the game's first turnover. We're going to see it a little bit slowed down here so we can appreciate the hit from behind. Isom was just about to release this ball. You kind of wonder what he had down there, but that is a brilliant job by the Steelers, and look where they are set up. Inside the 50. What a big moment in the game now.
He held it too long, Dave, and I don't have a 99 on my roster. I wanted to call out the recovering player. Yeah.
That's Yanni Lundqvist.
Yeah, I don't have him on my roster at all.
Yeah, Yanni Lindquist is number 99 for the Steelers.
Trips to the left, Jarman in the gun now. Did they draw them off?
Yeah, I think they're going to call this on the offense unless it was, now they're pointing the other way. But that could have been a free play, but maybe the call was encroachment.
We await that call. Here's some cheers coming from the Kuopio crowd, so perhaps some good news.
Yeah, and we apologize that we don't have the field audio on our broadcast here, although I do hear it in the background, but we'll try to get that fixed when we have a break in between quarters.
I do have it on my feed loud and clear. So maybe I could find a way to pass it to you through my microphone.
We'll have to see, yeah. I hear it. It's coming out of my native source, but it's not transferring over into our software. That's our problem right now.
It's a speed option here, flip to Mack, and he breaks a tackle and is still going. And he's close to a first down.
Yeah, very close. In fact, that was close to being a forward pass as well.
True.
As Mack kind of lost Jarman there and went forward. So it was a good job by Jarman to find him. But this is going to be 2nd down and short here, 2nd and 1 coming up.
Pananen had a chance to take him down for a very short gain immediately after that flip by Jarman. And instead, he picks up 9. We'll make that
4
with the penalty.
Right.
Jarman play fake. Throw right. Broken up. Good coverage there on the backside of that play. I do not have a 29 on my Butchers roster either.
29 on the Butchers is Yunus Matila. We're getting another look at that 1st down and 5 play and whether or not that was a forward lateral or not. Yeah, I think that was a forward pass. But still, nice job by Mack and a good job by Jarman to find him, and that's what got them to 4 yards. But now it's a 3rd down and 1. And it's a big play coming up here. You wonder if it's 4-down territory.
We may find out if Jarman is stopped, and indeed he is.
But he got the first.
He did get the first.
Yep. Right.
Just shy of the goal line, and they will hurry to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, it's a nice job by Jarman. You know, they got the defender going to the left. He spins right, gets the first down.
Jarman pitched to Mack, and he steps across the goal line for a touchdown. Oof. How about that planting of the foot, the juke inside, and the easy 6?
Yep, and he got Reiko to bite a little bit there. Reiko had to make a choice. Do I go and lunge and try to get him or what? And he did, and he lost that battle. So we'll get another look at it here.
Well, they were right on the doorstep when they snapped that ball. They needed, I would argue, less than a yard to get in, and they picked that up. Didn't come easily.
Right.
But Mack with the nice move secures the touchdown, and the PAT is good to put Kuopio up 14-6. Strong start for the Steelers after falling behind 6-0.
Yeah, 100%. And if you're the Steelers, you love the fact that that drive only had to go 14 yards for a score. That's a win for your offense, but also a win for your defense. You're able to get, 7 points on that drive off the turnover, and now you have really wrestled away full momentum of this game, and that defense, which is coming off its first takeaway of the game, now is a lot more confident playing with the score, an 8-point lead. Let's see what that translates into here for the rest of this quarter.
And you have to like what you've seen. Been able to hand the ball off. They've been able to convert in short yardage situations when the defense knows you're probably going to run. They've done a lot well, Dave. And on my end, we have lost the feed. Are you still with me? Yeah, we lost our feed, our video feed. So what we can do is I can push my feed, but then we lose your audio, and now you're back.
No. Yeah.
All right. Kickoff received by the Butchers, and the Steelers are all over it at the 15-yard line. That's where Porvoo will get started. So it seems like just a brief hiccup in the video feed, and we are back from what I can tell.
Well, we have 2 different video feeds, do we not?
Well, I have the back-end feed open, and you went from excellent to no data.
Okay. But no, yeah, my native feed never went away, so we're still linked up, you and I.
Yeah.
And maybe on YouTube there was a little blip that was experienced.
Pistol look for the Butchers on first down. It's a handoff to Powell, and he will not get very far. May have picked up a yard, if that.
Yeah, but you really have to like the way Kuopio is responding here to Christian Powell. They are not being fooled, and you wonder if you're the Butchers, do you bring Powell out of the flat and try to hook up maybe via the pass? Just try to get him in open space to start, his traveling upfield. And because right now the Steelers have solved this interior run game of the Butchers.
Pistol look once again on 2nd and 9, and once again it's a handoff to Powell. A bit more room this time as he lunges forward for a gain of maybe 4.
Yeah, that's what I got. It'll be 3rd and 5 coming up here. And it's definitely a makeable down and distance here for the Butchers, as we're going to have a timeout. And I believe that's the end of the first quarter, Joe. Could it be?
It could be.
And if that's the case, we'll take a break here. No, they're actually setting the ball down and respotting it. So
they gave him another yard, so it looks like a 3rd and 4 now.
3rd and 4, right.
And we saw, you mentioned trying to maybe get Powell the ball in other positions, but they did try and swing it to him out of the backfield on their last drive. And the Steelers were all over it, and that forced Isom to go through the rest of his progressions, hold on to the ball a bit. But you have to think this Steelers defense is locked in on slowing down Christian Powell, both in the running game and as a receiver out of the backfield.
And we haven't seen Isom with the ball in his hands, but we know he's a very dangerous running back as well. Not afraid to put the shoulder down, especially on a play like this.
And he'll look to throw here, and isn't that look reminiscent of something we saw a bit earlier? It looks like the same play that was dropped by Irola on the last drive. This time, he makes the reception at the 35 for a first down.
Yeah, and that was more thrown to his back shoulder than right to his midsection, but still, very efficient play. Worked well, and it gets a first down as a result.
First and for the Butchers to pick up on that last 3rd down play, and there's 5 more for Powell up the middle.
Yeah, just, again, the Butchers are staying committed to the ground game here, and they just want to be able to ground and pound and kind of, soften up that front 4 of the Steelers so that you get Isom a lot of protection back there on the passing downs. And again, by working quickly, you're not allowing them to sub in and out either.
2nd down at 6. Isom in the gun. Once again, hands off to Powell. Powell looking for room, and he couldn't find much, but he does pick up a few on that play, short of a first down. And that will set up 3rd and short, make it 3rd and 2.
Yeah, I had 3rd and 3 at first, but now it'll make that a 3rd and 2. And again, very manageable here down in distance. And again, you see no substitutions coming in and out for the Steelers, but Powell leaves the game in favor of Lindholm, who will come in, and that is the end of the first quarter. So, Joe, what we will do is step aside, take a break. When we come back, we'll get the second quarter underway here live from Kuopio. 14-6 is our score.
And we are back from Kuopio, Finland. Joe Foreman on the call alongside David Pizzuto. And Dave, it does appear we have gotten our audio feed from on-field into the broadcast, so that's good news. Just in time for the start of the second quarter. It is Butchers football. However, they trail the Kuopio Steelers 14-6.
Yeah, where there's a will, there's a way as far as getting some sound on the broadcast. But we thank all of our friends in Finland. And here we go. Big 3rd down and short.
3rd and 2. Powell on the handoff, has the first down, and spins off one hit and picks up maybe another extra yard or 2 after that first contact. Butchers now at their own 48 with a fresh set of downs.
And that was one of the first times that Powell really had a lane with which to run through at the starting point of that line, right at the line of scrimmage. And he was just able to take that up the middle, get himself 4 or 5 yards on it. Drive continues just south of the 50.
Isom operating under center here. Motion man is the tight end moving to the left of the formation. I will need number 7 on that roster as well, Dave.
For the Butchers?
Yep.
J.J. Jones the second. J.J. Jones the third.
So, okay, I have him as number 86 listed as J.J. Jones Jr.
Well, I have him number 7, J.J. Jones the third.
Got it.
And the Butchers are down to 1 timeout. They were the ones to call that one. And so really early stages here. They take a timeout. Not sure if they didn't see something they liked there.
Yeah, it's a bit unusual to see a timeout so early in a quarter, especially on a first down. But with the way this game has started, you don't want to give away any yards unnecessarily on a pre-snap penalty if you're forced to take that delay of game. But you have to give the Steelers a lot of credit in this one. They immediately were punched in the mouth by this Butchers offense. The Steelers opened the game, quickly gave the ball to Porvoo. Porvoo straight downfield, scored a touchdown, went ahead by 6. Since then, it's been all Kuopio.
Yeah, and the short drive obviously helped. That last drive where they scored 14 yards on the drive because of that turnover. But still, for a team that only scored 13 points in each half last week, Joe, in the game that we covered here on PDF, getting 14 in the first 12 minutes, that's saying something against this Butcher squad.
Once again, Isom operating under center. The motion man is Jones the third. Now Kaye moves into the backfield as the handoff to Powell. He bounces outside and will stay in bounds, fighting for extra yardage. And I think that probably earned him an extra 2 or 3 on the play. Give him 5.
Yes, we will. So, yeah, I had it as 2nd and 6, so let's bring it back to 2nd and 6. But, yeah, Joe, one of the things you mentioned about Powell, too, is that he doesn't take a lot of hits sometimes. He finds himself going out of bounds. He decides how he wants to get hit, but he's taken a few in this, quarter and a couple of minutes so far. Absorbed a lot.
2nd and 6. Trips to the right of the formation. Isom back in the gun, flanked by Powell. And he will hand off to Powell, who is tripped up behind the line of scrimmage. Liro Pekarainen gets him by the shoestrings, and that's a loss of a yard.
And not a bad tackle for a kicker, huh, Joe? Pekarainen doubles
not at all
as the place kicker and punter for this team, but he makes a great open field tackle at the shoelaces on a guy who's really hard to bring down, and that's just a nice job there. You know that Powell wants to get that edge. Not to be. It's 3rd down and 7 coming up.
This is a big one for Porvoo here. 3rd and 7, Isom looking downfield and will take off with it. Lowers the shoulder and is out across the 40 for a first down as he is forced to cover that one up on the way down.
Yeah, he stayed high on that tackle, Joe, but I've been waiting for this. This is something that you're giving so much attention to Christian Powell. You can't forget that Isom is bigger and perhaps stronger than Powell, and when he starts lumbering down the field, you're in trouble, and he's going to bring that shoulder down and gets an extra couple of yards there, but he is not afraid to mix it up there, especially with some smaller DBs in that second level.
He might not be the quarterback to win a foot race to the sideline and then turn it upfield, but if he gets going downhill between the hash marks, he is a tough man to bring down.
Oh, looks like the Butchers just called their final timeout, Joe.
And it is apparent that they have as they head to the sideline, and you could see Isom was frustrated with how that played out. Kaye was the motion man, and at some point between him being sent in motion and making it to the other side of the formation, timeout was called.
Yeah, we're watching the replay in slow-mo just to see if that's the frustration here. It looked like the wideout was moving further to the outside and then kind of pushed the slot receiver in. But, yeah, there was some miscommunication there, and that's what led to the timeout call. But, Isom also, you're in an area of the field where you don't want to go backwards. You don't want to take a delay penalty. You don't want to have, a procedural penalty. So you take the timeout here. You're out of them now. But, it's a big drive. They need a big response after the Steelers' second touchdown off the turnover. You want to keep the ball away from the Steelers offensively, keep your defense on the field, and that's what they're doing here to start the second quarter.
And it comes to mind now with the Butchers having no timeouts, but in the last 4 quarters, the Steelers' defense has allowed just 2 touchdowns. One of them came in a 2-minute drill where they inexplicably were in what looked like a prevent defense with almost a minute and a half to go against the Roosters. And Helsinki capitalized as Powell takes the handoff, breaks 1 tackle, still searching for room, spins inside, and finally the defense is able to track him down from the backside. But that's a nice gain, a first down run, and the Butchers have it all the way down at the Kuopio 25.
Yeah, we talk about, trying to get hands on Powell right at the point of impact, the line of scrimmage. Couldn't do it that time. And, Powell was able to shift away from a low tackle there and took it for an extra 6 yards after first contact. That's what he can do when he reaches the second level.
Porvoo in the gun. Powell on the sideline for this play. And Isom will hand it off again right up the middle. And Alexei Hirvonen picks up a couple.
Yeah, looks like got about 3 on the play. But,
him
yeah.
The 21. Gain of 3.
Yeah, we saw late in that game against the Saints in week 1 that they do go running back by committee, and they have 3 or 4 moving parts. to their run game. Hervonen obviously gives up size here, but he's shifty.
Pistol look this time. 4 receivers on the field. Hervonen gets the handoff once again, looking for room and won't find any. Pair of Steelers in there.
Yeah, he goes backwards. Pekarainen was in the neighborhood along with number 55, Brevin Giacomoni. And it's going to force a 3rd down and 8 coming up. So another big 3rd and long. Steelers haven't really been able to get a lot of pressure on Isom. The one time that they did, they forced the fumble from behind when Isom reared back to throw one deep down the field. Let's see if they can get home here on the 4-man rush.
It's going to be 3rd and 8. Once again, Porvoo in the gun. Still no Powell on the field. Isom will look to throw. Has some time, and it runs out as he flips it incomplete. And he had Kaye wide open, but didn't find him quickly enough. And Isom a bit slow to get up here.
Yeah, he was very unorthodox when he threw that ball, Joe. It kind of looked like his body was in the middle of twisting up. And at first I thought he was just going to simply run it. Steelers actually did a really nice job on him to not allow that.
Like I said before, Dave, he's a very dangerous ball carrier between the hash marks, but I don't think they have to worry too much about him breaking contain and winning a foot race to the sideline. I think Jarman's much more of a threat in that department, but the Steelers are very fortunate that he did not get that throw off a bit sooner because Kaye was all alone.
Yeah, this is an injury timeout here. The Butchers are out of them, but you mentioned Powell on the bench, and I was trying to look at the sideline to see where he is and if he was on the trainer's table or not. He's not in frame, and now with Isom coming off the field on 4th down and 8, Isom will not be the quarterback of record. Now, they do have their backup here. I'm trying to figure it out. I think it's Hortakongas, number 6, and we'll see if he comes out on the field. But you'd have to think with the injury timeout, Isom has to get off the field, but he's still in that huddle. You could see him right at the 35-yard line.
He should not be able to play if the rules follow the same standard as the NFL. He should have to take a play off here.
Yeah, and I saw that on replay, Joe, where it looked like his right leg kind of buckled underneath him as he was trying to get rid of that ball. But he is back on the field, as is Powell. So, maybe we were wrong. Maybe the Butchers had one timeout remaining and used it. But either way,
that wasn't the signal, I can tell you that.
It was not. 4th down and 8. It's a big one.
Sure is. Trips to the left. Isom in the gun, flanked by Powell this time. Jones the third, the lone receiver right. He moved early.
Yeah, I noticed that. It kind of started a bit early here, and they're going to back him up 5 yards, 4th and 13.
Well, you don't gain much by punting from here unless you pin them inside the 5. So I'm not sure if this changes anything. You certainly aren't kicking a field goal.
Yeah, and I think you have to kind of like your ability to protect Isom. I mean, the Steelers really haven't gotten home much. It doesn't look like they're going to send in extra pressure either.
They're giving huge cushions to the receivers, Dave.
Yeah, keep them in front of the sticks, make a short tackle.
It's going to be a one-on-one jump ball. And it is complete over the middle. How about that? Isom connects with Kaye, and it's shocking that that's the one they completed when they had him so open on the previous attempt.
Well, with the way they were working up at the top of your screen and those routes that were forming, I had no idea they were going to go to Kaye in the middle of the field. A little bit of deception there as we catch the final second of this play.
They played that way too safe, the Steelers, as Powell is taken down just outside of the 10-yard line. But, Dave, that looks a lot like what we saw late in the first half last week, just far too conservative in coverage.
Yeah, that's a good point.
They were in man across the board with a single high safety, and then they had, I believe, another either zone over the middle or a quarterback spy. But, man, that was almost too easy.
Yeah.
Isom in the gun once again, and he will hand off to Powell. Powell inside the 10, still on his feet, but they'll blow this one dead.
Yeah, it'll be 3rd and goal now from about the 7-yard line. That's a good job to at least get, 4 or 5 on that play to set them up from in close. But you're right, Joe. And, again, a play like that is also made because Isom could see down the middle of the field. He has that visual lane open and is able to step up in the pocket and throw an absolute rocket right between the hash marks. And so if you're the Steelers, you have to think about maybe getting pressure as well and getting a couple of hands in the face of Isom.
That is a great ball from Isom. That shouldn't be lost in our critique of the coverage, but very conservative play call. 3rd and goal. Isom up the middle and in for 6.
No doubt. Once he starts lumbering out of there and he sees open space, this was a no-doubter for sure. And now they're down by 2. We'll see if they try and go for 2 to tie this game up. But that's a big drive, Joe, with some huge 3rd down conversions that came in there, a 4th down conversion as well. And this is the result. 6 points the other way with a chance to perhaps get it even or at the very least get it down by 1. But they are going for 2 here.
And I think that's the right decision.
Yep.
I'm of the opinion that if you're down 2 at any point in the game off a touchdown, you go for it. But that's just me. Isom looking right, will throw and complete for the conversion. Irola may have caught it just short of the goal line, but he takes it the rest of the way. And the Butchers are even. We're all knotted up at 14.
Yeah, I think through the first quarter and a half maybe now, Joe, that we're seeing what both of these teams do best. I think we're seeing, both teams go back and forth and give us a look at what they can do. And, with the Butchers, it's about finding guys in the periphery, giving Isom space, his ability to run on that drive twice, resulted in big plays, obviously 1 for 6 points as well. And, on the opposite side, this Steelers offense has been absolutely grounded because they just haven't had the ball in their hands all that much. Their last drive was only 3 plays long. And so they're going to get the ball back here, perhaps with more modest field position. And now it'll be their turn to try and respond to something very positive that the Butchers did. And it's a war between 2 heavyweights here, Joe, and they're punching back.
It's been impressive to watch early in this game, and the Steelers had all of the momentum before that drive, and I'm glad you made the point about the length of that drive and how long it kept the ball out of Kuopio's hands, and that's compounded by the fact that, as you said, a very short drive for the Steelers preceded that as well. So the Butchers will send it deep to Kuopio here in a tie game, and it's been quite a bit since the Steelers have touched the football.
Yep.
That one received just inside of the 15-yard line. Mack on the run back out across the 30, out across the 35, and fights forward across the 40. So a nice return there by Joshua Mack as late whistles come in.
Well, one thing that the Steelers have had is good field position. We'll see if they get backed up here if there was a flag down. But right now the ball's spotted at the 45-yard line.
Yeah, it looks like they're about to assess a penalty here. I did not see the flag on the field, but you could hear those whistles coming in.
Yeah, and it might have happened here on the near side away from the ball because there was a conference that went on with the side judge here on the near side. So we'll see.
Still waiting.
Yeah.
It looked like we were about to get the call, and
sometimes these are because there are multiple fouls as well.
Do we have a translator on the line?
I don't. But either way, it'll be 1st and 10 for Kuopio. They're just going to get backed up 15 yards out of all this, back at the 25-yard line. So I think it's 15 yards from the spot of the foul, which was at the 40, and more modest starting field position here.
Trips to the left. Mack, the motion man, out of the backfield. Jarman looking to his right, throwing for Mack downfield. He's got it. He's still on his feet, and he's inside of the Butchers' 40-yard line.
Man, split the seam like a pair of scissors. He comes out of it with the ball in his hand. Great concentration. You know you're destined to get hit here at the end of this play, or maybe contact as soon as the ball is on you. But Mack with a great job of staying poised down the sideline. Again, it's just another rope of a throw by Jarman. Back shoulder again towards the sideline. Great connection. Mack makes a great break on the ball. You know, that ball on him too fast for the safety to come in and help.
Jarman, fearless, throwing into coverage. This time, it's a quick screen for Marshall. He spins off a tackle and works his way to the 26.
Nice job by Marshall, weaving through some traffic and, you know, keeping his feet moving into that catch and, you know, gets himself enough to move the sticks again.
Marshall's touchdown streak in games here on PDF came to an end last week. Looking to start a new one, perhaps, here tonight.
Yeah, making that first guy miss. It was almost a really great tackle to start that play, but Marshall with the ability to make a miss gets the first down.
Trips to the right. Mack flanking Jarman in the backfield. He works out of the gun and will keep Jarman. Oh, lost the football. It's loose. And the Butchers have it.
Wow, Joe, a great ball fake again by Jarman. He had a little bit of the defenders fooled, but they're able to get a punch in there on the ball, and now the team have swapped turnovers here, and the Steelers, who were rolling on that drive, just got derailed. Nice defensive play here in the open field to jar the ball loose, and the Steelers give it up.
I think it was helmet to football by Kaye. I'm getting a look now at the replay. And no, that wasn't Kaye. Kaye was near the backside of that play on the recovery. But either way, that is a big-time play to bring that Steelers drive to a grinding halt.
Yeah, if you're a Steelers fan, that really hurts, you know, because you were driving on that drive.
I saw him looking to throw deep downfield. He has a man open, and Irola has it hit off his fingertips. Oh, boy.
You know, I think if you're ISOM, you'd like to take just a touch or a hair off of this ball. Irola was on his horse, but again, any receiver will tell you that hits me in the fingertips. I have to make this catch. And for a deep ball that was about 40 yards in the air, this is a pretty solid job here by ISOM to get it there. And again, Irola splitting the defense, that's got to be caught.
Yeah, I think the simple analysis there is you have to catch that ball, even if you go down.
Right.
And Powell will take the handoff on 2nd and 10. He's bent over backwards. One of his offensive linemen providing a bit of a bridge there.
Yeah, and actually getting tangled on that play was Henry Lettinen again for the Steelers. So he got up really slow, but it's good to see him still in there. And on 3rd down and a long 9, short 10, the Butchers are still, you know, kind of muddle huddling here, maybe looking to go quickly. Don't know how much time is left in the half, but this one has moved pretty quickly.
Well, they took a good amount of time off the second quarter clock with that last possession. And they'll look to keep this one going here on 3rd and long. Isom looking left, stepping up, now rolling right. He has a man open. It's Powell, but he sails it over his head.
Yeah, just on the run, Isom just misses here. And again, that's just a product of being off balance, throwing against your body, and really not feeling comfortable while you're releasing the ball. Powell found himself in an open area there, relatively unmarked, working himself back to the ball. You could see he's calling it, found the window, but that ball just wasn't there where it should be. 4th down. Porvoo goes 3 and out after the turnover.
And the punt by Porvoo is a pretty good one, and it takes a Butcher's bounce inside of the Kuopio 30-yard line where it's touched down by Littlejohn. But looking at that last play very quickly and the coverage on Powell, that was defensive lineman Atro Heinonen down the field covering Powell, or check that, wrong roster, but it was a defensive lineman. It was Lindquist, you mentioned earlier, down the field, covering Powell.
That's a tough ask right
Sure
there.
Is. Sure is.
But what the Butchers did do with that turnover is, again, switch the field up a little bit and force the Steelers to simply restart and start over again. And, you know, if you're the Steelers, you want to really get that fumble out of your system and go right back to work with what you were doing before.
Trips to the right. Jarman looking that way. Now forced to scramble left. A lot of green in front of him and a flag near the line of scrimmage. So this one might be coming back.
Yeah, that's the product when you have a scrambling quarterback who likes to make plays with his legs when the pocket starts to break down. You're going to see these flags happen, and they're going to have to back up 10 yards here, most likely, as the Steelers are already doing that. But it's a good job by Jarman, however, to recognize the backside pressure. Remember, he's left-handed, and he feels that pressure to his right and is able to kind of take off and not really think too much about it. Just tuck it down, get something on the play.
So we'll see what the official down and distance is.
I think it's 1st and 20. I think it's the full breadth of the 10 yards here.
Right at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
Is where the hold occurred.
Yeah, I think so.
Jarman in the gun. Mack alongside him in the offensive backfield. And Jarman will throw short over the middle, complete.
Fumble
and another
again.
fumble. And the Steelers say they have it. I believe they do.
Yes, sir. It's the first touch of the game for Willie Lidston, the backup running back or the fullback on the play. And, you know, it's just a good, simple, just little pitch and catch down the middle of the field. It's designed to get you, you know, a few yards to get you closer to the original line of scrimmage. And, again, the Butchers doing well in the secondary to punch at this football, get contact on the nose of the ball as Lidston tries to get more yards out of this. And, yeah, it's a clear fumble and a good recovery there by Porvoo. They're right back to work on offense. This time they get a short field at the Steelers' 28.
The Steelers survived that last turnover. They'll have to do a lot of work here defensively to survive a second in this quarter. Isom in the gun. Two receivers to each side of the formation, and I thought the Steelers might have jumped there. Isom throwing end zone, and he's picked off! Intercepted by Tuka Michaela.
Michaela was in the hip pocket of the receiver there, Joe. He was just waiting it out, and that ball, you know, was put in a good place, but Michaela had such great coverage. There was no doubt here, and he makes the play.
One turnover immediately followed by another. And these two defenses have made big plays in this first half. Each of these two offenses at times has made big plays in this first half. You can't ask for much more from an early season matchup between a pair of two-win teams.
Well, we've had 4 touchdowns in the game, Joe. We have 4 turnovers in the game now, 2 for each team. And it's been pretty even so far, and it remains that way. And the Steelers go right back to work on offense.
Bit of a heavier look out of the gun from Kuopio, and Mack now racing for the sideline, dealing a stiff arm before he's finally forced out of bounds by Littlejohn. And that's a good, strong run from Joshua Mack.
Yeah, and again, we're seeing a couple of running backs who, when they get their heads of steam, when they're able to find some open room, they can be really dynamic in the open field, and there's another result with Mack going for 10-plus and getting the ball at the 32-yard line in better field position here as we get another look before we bring it to live action.
Jarman in the gun once again. Bit of a heavier look near the line of scrimmage, and again they hand it off to Mack, who is tripped up after a gain of 2.
Yeah, modest gain that time, but again, you see what the Steelers are doing. They want to keep the Butchers off balance. They don't want to be one-dimensional, run that one up the teeth of the offensive line, make the Butchers step up a little bit, make those linebackers think that they have to fill gaps, and that's when you could take advantage of them over the middle.
Jarman once again in the gun, this time fakes the handoff and throws over the middle, complete to Marshall. And Marshall drives forward. They did not rule that his forward progress had been stopped. And I think they gave him the extra yardage as a flag comes out.
Yeah, it comes out late. We'll get the result of that in just a moment, but let's appreciate the absolute dart that Jarman throws here again. You could just see him rearing back when he throws these. Man, those are coming under fire. That's like John Elway style back from the 80s and the early 90s. And rockets down the field. Marshall had no choice but to catch that. It was kind of tattooed on him.
I'd have to agree, and I think the only thing that you can really hope to exploit as a defense when Jarman throws the football is that he has a bit of a long delivery. Other than that, once he gets that football out, As there's going to be a personal foul here for a blow to the head against the Butchers. So add 15 to the end of that play. But Dave, as I was saying, unless you can get to Jarman before he releases the football, you need essentially perfect coverage to make any play on the football. He has that strong of an arm.
Yeah, no, it's true. As we were getting another look, I wanted to see if I could find that blow to the head, and I think it came in late, right at the very end. But man, what a game there. And a couple of, again, this is another Steelers drive, and I hate to call it a drive. It's only 2 or 3 plays old, but where they're just getting big chunks, and we have to see if they can complete it. But you're right. You know, the long delivery by Jarman, but man, when he is able to step in the pocket and he has a visual lane to throw, it's really tough. Could this be the 2-minute warning here, Joe? I don't see an official timeout signal.
Both teams are headed to the benches, which leads me to believe it must be.
See the side judge on the bottom of your screen motioning timeout, but I don't see anybody putting up the 2 fingers up. So this is either a Steelers timeout or the 2-minute warning, and we're sorry we can't be more definitive about that as we do not have access to the scoreboard here.
I would presume it's probably the 2-minute warning, but if you take a look at the official near the bottom of the screen, he's been posturing with the fist out to each side for the last 30 to 45 seconds.
Right.
Now just one fist out.
Well, maybe that's because it was the Steelers timeout, but we'll see. It didn't look like the Steelers wanted a timeout. You know what I mean? It kind of looked like they were frustrated by the whistle.
Yeah, I wouldn't want a timeout after that.
Right, exactly.
Maybe Marshall felt differently after a blow to the head.
Yeah. Oh, maybe. That could have been it too,
could it
Joe.
Be? Yeah.
Like an evaluation. Yeah.
Yeah, it could be that.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I think that makes the most sense.
Right. Yeah, and I think I just saw the official, like pat his hat, which means that's an official timeout. So we'll go with that. 1st and 10 either way, though, as the Steelers. Marshall's not in the game, so there's something to that.
Once again, the Steelers with 6 lined up near the line of scrimmage here. 5 linemen and a tight end as Jarman rolls left and throws deep. And a bit of hand fighting there, but there's a point by Kawika. Did he get the call? Yes, he did. Flag at the 10-yard line.
Wow.
Yeah, I think there was a jersey tug there, but it's going to be tough to make out on the replay.
Well, while they make the official call, Joe, and we'll keep people abreast of that, we'll take another look at it. It will be hard to pick this up here, but let's see if we can. It looked like the defender, Matila, tried to get his hands off of him at the very last moment, but it was indeed a pass interference.
And that is 15 from the line in the Maple League, correct?
Correct, 15 and a first down, and it does put them outside the 10, so 13-yard line.
I think that's a great spot to be, a chance to pick up a first down, still well inside of the red zone. And there certainly was a chance for a big completion there were it not for the contact. That being said, I think it was probably overthrown based on where it landed.
Yeah.
Jarman in the gun, flanked by Mack. He fakes the handoff, wants to fade, and was it corralled in time? I don't think so. And they do rule it incomplete.
Oh, yeah. So we're going to look at this again very slowly, and I think this is the right call.
I agree.
Let's take a look. Pick it up from the snap here.
That was a great ball by Jarman, too.
Yeah, that's a good call for the incomplete. Should be caught, though, however, for a touchdown. So
no question.
They'll rue the result of that play.
He threw that off his back foot, off of the pump fake, with the pressure bearing down on it. Trips to the left now. Mack motioned to the right side. And a whistle comes in.
Delay a game. I think we lost Joe's audio here. Okay, so we have lost Joe's audio, so we will take over. Joe has actually lost power where he is in New Jersey as there's a major storm going on. So we'll stay with you here, and it will be a 2nd down and 15. So Joe will rejoin us on the broadcast as soon as he can, but we'll see what we can do here. Jarman, back to pass, looking towards his left. Middle of the field. The catch is made by Marshall for the touchdown. And the Steelers add 6 more on the board. Another rope by Jarman. And Marshall had to reach a little bit behind him. Makes the catch. The Steelers have retaken the lead. It's 20-14. We're going to get another look at it. And again, Jarman with a nice little pocket with which to work with. Sees the middle of the field. And just a line of a rope. And again, Marshall with the sure hands making the catch. 20-14 in favor of the Steelers. And that kick is up, and it is good. So the Steelers add 1 to make it 21-14. Now, folks, we are getting a notice from back at our home base in New Jersey that we are experiencing some very, very bad storms in New Jersey, 80-mile-per-hour winds as well. And many areas in New Jersey, north and central, have lost power. And so if we lose power ourselves, we will have to break off and get you the rest of this broadcast at some other time. Joe, are you with us?
I am with you on my MacBook's microphone at the moment. Okay. So I do believe power has come back, so I'm going to try and reboot and rejoin you on the main feed at halftime.
Okay, I am hearing a massive echo of my own voice in yours, and I'm sure the folks at home are listening to it as well, so we'll have to get that sorted out, if you don't mind. But Joe, if you're hanging in there with us, you just missed a Steelers touchdown as Jarman was able to hook up with Marshall, who came back into the game. It's 21-14 on a great drive by the Steelers to respond. Kickoff underway late here in the second, and that one will travel all the way out of the end zone. And the Butchers will start 1st and 10 at their own 25. And again, not quite sure how much time is left here. We have not had the scoreboard flash on our screen, but we have to think we're coming towards the end of the first half. The Steelers with a 21-14 lead over the Butchers here on their home field. It's been a back-and-forth game. And for what it's worth, the Steelers have scored 14 points off of Butchers' turnovers in this game as well. Isom and the Butchers back to work as we have a flag down. No, actually a timeout, I believe, called by the Steelers. So that'll be the first timeout called by Kuopio in this game's first half. And it'll give both teams a chance to get themselves situated as we work to get Joe Foreman back on the broadcast doing our play-by-play again. In case you just joined us or in case you had your power go out from wherever you're listening to us, in our home states of New York and New Jersey, we have had some massive thunderstorms rolling in. I am broadcasting this game from Wirtsboro, New York, upstate, and Joe is broadcasting from Matawan, New Jersey. And severe thunderstorms rolling through New Jersey knocked out his electrical power, and that's why Joe is not on the air with us. But as he works to get back and synced up with us, we'll take you through the rest of this first half. 21-14 is our score. Steelers on top. As we reset, 1st and 10 for the Butchers. Isom looks to his left, out in the flat and up the field. That catch is made by Sepinen, and he has enough for the first down.
All right, any better with the echo, Dave?
Much better. I don't hear myself at all. However, I probably will have to bring your mic down just a little bit.
One moment.
All right, Joe, in case you're listening to us, Joe, we hear you.
Still nothing.
Isom, back to pass. Middle of the field, wide open. The catch is made, and a touchdown-saving tackle by Mario Satonen on J.J. Jones, the third, but not before a huge play down the middle of the field. Butchers want to go quickly, but we will try to get you another look at this play. Again, Isom with a really nice pocket delivers a strike to a wide-open Jones. And the Butchers are in business inside the Steelers' 30-yard line. Back to pass. Isom off the back foot. The throw almost intercepted and probably should have been by Pekarainen, I should say. Ducked in front of that one. Probably should have had the turnover on that play. Man, some exhilarating plays back and forth again. But Isom, we've seen him misfire during these plays. When he's throwing off of his back foot, when he's throwing off the run, that one should have been picked off by Pekarainen. The Butchers get away with one. Could have been their third turnover. Instead, it'll be 2nd down and 10.
All right, Dave, when you get a chance, try and timestamp me with where you are, and I'll at least get the video feedback.
All right, one moment here as Isom is back to throw. He's going to throw that one away completely and thrown out of bounds. Joe, let me just see what we have here. Joe, our timestamp is 1:20, 56, 57, 58, 59, 121.
All right. I'll have to see if my phone cellular can get me back online. I don't know what rolled through here, but it was a massive storm.
I just got a text message from one of my family members asking me if I'm okay in my little bungalow here in upstate New York because the thunderstorms that rolled in were pretty bad. Isom back to pass again. He's under enormous pressure, and he's going to be taken down for the sack. Take your pick. A couple of Steelers on route. Damian Lowry was the first one there. Also in was Giacomoni. And we are going to have a timeout here. As not quite sure. I think this is the 2-minute warning. I think this is the 2-minute warning, Joe, with a 3rd down and heavy yardage coming up. We are going to have a 3rd down and 16. I believe that's the first sack of the game. And actually, it was a timeout called by the Steelers here. And if we do have another timeout and we get Joe back on the line, we'll probably reset our broadcast.
We should be good now, Dave.
Okay. So, Joe, why don't you take over play-by-play? Well, or just give me some audio so I can fix your levels here.
Yeah, I'm on a different machine right now, and my timestamp is at 1:22:25, so I'm probably a bit off.
Well, I'll tell you, we are at 1:22:23, 34, 35, 36.
No way we're exactly synced, because that's exactly where I was.
Okay, well, when we have this one change hands, we'll throw it to commercial break and we'll get synced up.
Yeah. As far as you just told me, we're at the exact same spot.
This is actually a 4th down and 16. Isom's got to put it up. He's under heavy pressure. Steps away from one tackler. Bounces off his own man. Stiff arm. The throw in the flat to Powell. Incomplete. The Steelers hold and will take over on downs. What a moment for this Steelers defense. And they'll get the ball back with some seconds or maybe a little bit over a minute left here in this first half.
Well, Dave, just by chance, we are at the same exact point in the live stream, so I had your call perfectly overlaid with where my video feed is.
All right, so you could take over from here, Joe, but this ball will be spotted at the 34-yard line. The Steelers take over on downs. Not quite the turnover they were looking for, but on downs they were able to take over.
All right, so I'm down to just a MacBook. The power in half of my apartment works, half of it does not.
So the phases are coming back in phases.
Very, very unusual, but it's a shotgun look for Kuopio. Keep in mind, Dave, I don't have rosters. Jarman throws over the middle, complete to Mack. He's across the 50, across the 45, and down inside of the Butchers' 40-yard line. So we'll see if Kuopio looks to use a timeout or perhaps spike it instead. Dave, what's our timeout situation?
The Steelers have one left. I'm sorry.
One left. Spread shotgun look. Jarman to throw again. He's looking downfield. Incomplete. Kuika, the intended target.
Yeah, so with that little bit of a respite, we'll take a look at that 1st down play to Mack. And again, this is just a simple pitch and catch, just a couple of yards down the field, and you let Mack do the rest. It's exactly 5 yards in the air, and then he goes 20 more for the 1st down. Now it's 2nd down and 10. Again, Kuopio with the 1 timeout remaining. We have to think we're about at the minute mark left, maybe a little bit less.
Steelers break huddle. Ball at the Butchers' 39-yard line. Jarman again looking to throw, this time looking right, now rolling left. He turns it upfield and takes off with room, and he's going to take this out of bounds just outside of the red zone.
Yeah, again, and Jarman's ability to get out of bounds is really the difference maker there as well. So he's able to keep time. We'll have to see. There might be a penalty here as we're looking at the white hat. So this is if it's a holding call, it's not the first time here that Jarman has been able to get around the outside edge, but not without the benefits of a holding call. We'll have to see.
We await this flag, and it could be a big one. Right now I'm scrambling, trying to see if I can restore some power here.
Yep, and according to my family members in North Jersey, Joe, they are still without power there. So just a ripping storm that came through.
Yeah, I have power in half the room, which is so odd. And it's going to be a penalty against the Steelers. So
it's a hit on a defenseless player, Joe. So it's going to be second down, but they're going to back him up 15 yards. So we're looking at a 2nd and 25 coming up.
That's a big one. And it erases what would have been a massive run by Jarman. He picked up close to 20, but they didn't back them up all the way.
It was 15 yards from the spot of the foul.
From the end of the play.
Yeah, so it'll be 2nd and 6 instead.
So they'll net 4 yards on that play. Almost of the opinion you're better off having the time than the 4 yards as Jarman will look to throw. Clean pocket. He fires sideline, and I don't think that was caught.
Incomplete.
With the toes down. It is indeed incomplete.
Yeah. Yeah, the side judge there, very emphatic with the call and sure with the call, and I think that's the right call as well, as that pass led the receiver out of bounds. But big 3rd down and 6 coming up. I'll tell you what, with the way Pekarainen has kicked some of the extra points, a field goal is not off the table, but I think they still need a good 15 yards here on this play.
You would think they have the time to pick up those yards. The question is, do they have the downs?
Right.
It's 3rd and a long 5, short 6. Ball at the Butchers' 35-yard line, and
final timeout, perhaps?
Well, that would be a tough spot to use it. I think it's more likely that it is indeed a delay of game. And that one hurts as well. That backs them up another 5.
Yeah, and I guess if you're the Steelers, you know, you're in a spot here where you got to pick up the 3rd down no matter what. You probably have to throw the ball down the field a good stretch either way because you can only stop the clock one more time, essentially. So still maybe the same exact play on the table here.
And Jarman again looking to throw. Time was running out, and he's able to drop it off short. Mack was there for a gain of a yard, but I think it's more important to avoid that sack and a potential turnover that comes with it.
Yeah, and, you know, Mack didn't know any better, but the bottom line is he would have been better off just batting that ball down and just not catching it and then stopping the clock. But the Steelers have called their final timeout here, Joe, so they're probably going to go for this, obviously, calling that timeout. The yard marker or the sticks say 3rd down, but this is a 4th down, in my opinion. Just going off the...
Oh, yeah, it has to be.
Yeah, absolutely, because, and they're making that call now. Yeah, they're fixing the marker now. So it is a 4th down and 10, and they're going to kick. Joe, look at this.
Wow.
56 yards.
This is a long one. But...
And remember, they'll give the ball back at this yard line if they miss.
You would have to think there's not a lot of time left if they're trying this, and they are going to fake it. Jarman throwing downfield. He has a man open, but it falls incomplete. And would they have had enough for the 1st down? I think so.
I think so, too. And I'll tell you what, knowing this was a fake from the jump, how is number 24, Santeri Yavonen, this wide open down the field? And they almost complete this, but maybe that is halftime now, Joe, because that's what it looks like.
Yeah, I think that it was a safe bet. That was going to be the final play. So with that, we'll throw it to halftime. I'll see if I can get back online. And when we come back for the second half, you'll rejoin us for a good one.
The PDF Sports Network is officially seeking sponsors for the 2026 Vaahteraliiga season. The Vaahteraliiga is the top professional American football league in Finland, and now, for the first time, is available in the English language and in the U.S., courtesy of PDF. Join us as we make history by showcasing the Maple League to a new worldwide audience. Our partnership with the Vaahteraliiga was recently featured in International Business Journal as a groundbreaking venture that in 2025 earned us a Global Recognition Award and a GHP Magazine Award for Best Local Live Broadcasting in the nation. It's time to bring our coverage to the next level and showcase your products and business to local and international audiences. Show your support now by calling us at 732-723-8189 or by emailing pdfsportsnet@gmail.com.
Burgers are better at the Brownstone in Metuchen.
My weekend starts with the Brownstone burger, topped with cheddar, barbecue sauce, and a fried egg.
Give me the Hawaiian burger. I love the Canadian bacon and sweet pineapple.
How do you like your salads? Shrimp, chicken, beef?
Stop in and see why families are eating good at the Brownstone in Metuchen.
We'll meet you at the Brownstone.
We'll meet you at the Brownstone.
No, I'm right. The podcast that uncovers the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, and entertainment. Nick Durst here, along with Joe Caleb, wanted to do a podcast. And everyone was like, what are you, crazy? Who's going to listen?
I am so happy that you asked me to do this. I couldn't have been more thrilled. And follow us on socials. Check us out. I promise you, if you want to work in media, come to us. And I promise you, we will get you on the right foot.
That's what it's all about, uncovering the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, and entertainment. Keep it locked on You Know I'm Right.
Refined, restorative, results-driven. At CMX iMed Bar, we blend medicine, aesthetics, and wellness into one luxury experience, led by Dr. Angela Roque. Located in the heart of Pier Village, Long Branch. Visit cmximedbar.com or text 9089-232-694 to look better, feel better, live elevated.
Attention, local businesses and professionals. Isn't it time to elevate your game? Now you can advertise your business or product on PDF Sports Network. Your ad will appear on all of our broadcasts, including this one. Don't have a commercial? We'll make one for you, absolutely free. What better way to showcase your product and brand while supporting the best local sports, teams, and leagues? Call now at 732-723-8189 or visit us at pdfsportsnet.com. We're at halftime here in Kuopio. One more commercial break for you, and Joe and I will get you ready for a second half kickoff. Stay with us here. This is the Maple League Game of the Week on the PDF Sports Network.
The PDF Sports Network is officially seeking sponsors for the 2026 Vaahteraliiga season. The Vaahteraliiga is the top professional American football league in Finland, and now, for the first time, is available in the English language and in the U.S., courtesy of PDF. Join us as we make history by showcasing the Maple League to a new worldwide audience. Our partnership with the Vaahteraliiga was recently featured in International Business Journal as a groundbreaking venture that in 2025 earned us a Global Recognition Award and a GHP Magazine Award for Best Local Live Broadcasting in the nation. It's time to bring our coverage to the next level and showcase your products and business to local and international audiences. Show your support now by calling us at 732-723-8189 or by emailing pdfsportsnet@gmail.com.
Burgers are better at the Brownstone in Metuchen.
My weekend starts with a Brownstone burger, topped with cheddar, barbecue sauce, and a fried egg.
Give me the Hawaiian burger. I love the Canadian bacon and sweet pineapple.
How do you like your salads? Shrimp, chicken, beef?
Stop in and see why families are eating good at the Brownstone in Metuchen.
We'll meet you at the Brownstone.
We'll meet you at the Brownstone.
No, I'm right. The podcast that uncovers the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, and entertainment. Nick Durst here, along with Joe Caleb, wanted to do a podcast. Everyone was like, what are you, crazy? Who's going to listen?
I am so happy that you asked me to do this. I couldn't have been more thrilled. And follow us on socials. Check us out. I promise you, if you want to work in media, come to us, and I promise you, we will get you on the right foot.
That's what it's all about, uncovering the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, and entertainment. Keep it locked on You Know I'm Right.
Refined, restorative, results-driven. At CMX iMed Bar, we blend medicine, aesthetics, and wellness into one luxury experience, led by Dr. Angela Roque. Located in the heart of Pier Village, Long Branch. Visit cmximedbar.com or text 9089232694 to look better, feel better, live elevated.
Attention local businesses and professionals. Isn't it time to elevate your game? Now you can advertise your business or product on PDF Sports Network. Your ad will appear on all of our broadcasts, including this one. Don't have a commercial? We'll make one for you, absolutely free. What better way to showcase your product and brand while supporting the best local sports, teams, and leagues? Call now at 732-723-8189 or visit us at pdfsportsnet.com.
Joe Foreman and Dave Pizzuto back with you from Kuopio, Finland, where the Steelers have a 21-14 lead as we get set to begin the third quarter. Dave, I did miss a touchdown when a thunderstorm in the Matawan, New Jersey area knocked out my internet and my feed. Half of my apartment still without internet, still without power. Fortunately, the half where the router is does have power, and I was able to get back on with you late in the second quarter. But the Steelers early in this game fell behind 6-0, very quickly seized control, went ahead 14-6. The Butchers did respond, scoring a touchdown, followed by the two-point conversion, and that's about the point where you lost me on stream. So walk us through how that first half came to a close.
Well, basically, the real story of that first half, Joe, is that the Steelers now have 14 points off of Butcher's turnovers. And, you know, that started with the Butcher's turnover. They were able to kind of go down the length of the field, and then it was a pass from Jarman to Marshall, who actually was out of the game for a little while after that injury, had to reach across his body right at the goal line, but was open, makes the catch from about 15, 20 yards away for the touchdown to make it 21-14. And the Butchers then responded by going on a drive of their own, but got derailed after a penalty and a sack and could not convert on fourth down. And then, of course, by the time you joined us, there was a field goal that was faked on the last drive of the half. But while you were gone, Joe, I did let people know that there are storms rolling through our respective areas. You are in central New Jersey. I am upstate in New York. And we both had our power go out at some point today. Mine was due to the extreme heat. Yours was due to the rolling storm that rolled in. But I did inform everybody that just in case we both get knocked off the air because of storms that are happening, that we would get back on as soon as we possibly can. So grateful that you're back with us here, and we get a good second half, hopefully, knock on wood, of stress-free and powerful football coming up.
These two teams put on a show last year, and they have not disappointed through the first 24 minutes. And I think some of my takeaways from the first half, starting first with the Steelers, is I think you really have to be impressed with what this team is able to do offensively. They're consistently utilizing the ground game, something that we didn't see much early in the game against the Roosters last week. The ground game really gained some traction as that game went along, and that has continued into this matchup with the Butchers. They've also been very dynamic in the passing game. Slade Jarman, no fear throwing down the field. He is willing to throw the ball one-on-one, in coverage, whatever it takes to get his receiver an opportunity to make a play. We saw him pay for it in the game against the Roosters. He did throw an interception in that game, but generally speaking, when he's taken those chances, he's come through and really made some big plays, a lot of those against tight quality coverage. So you have to be impressed with what you've seen from him throwing the football. And on the side of the Butchers, you mentioned 14 Steelers points off of Butchers turnovers. That's very uncharacteristic of this team based on what we've seen covering them the last couple of years. It's not often we've seen them trail in games, so it'll be interesting to see how they respond. That being said, they did force a big turnover of their own in that first half. In fact, 2 of them, which halted what could have been scoring drives for the Steelers. So you have to be impressed with what you've seen from the Butchers defense. Early in this game, they gave up the 14 quick points, helped in large part by a turnover committed by the Butchers offense. After that, they were able to keep the Butchers within the 1 score. Porvoo did tie it, but the Steelers scoring that late touchdown took a 7-point lead into halftime, and that's where we stand right now.
Yeah, I feel like we're saying this every single week, Joe, maybe with the exception of week 1 where it was kind of a blowout, but it seems like the team that is going to play better in this second half is probably going to win this game because it's been a battle of 2 heavyweights to this point, and they're hitting each other with jabs and with straight crosses, but each team has landed a couple of devastating right hooks as well, and in the case of Slade Jarman, some left hooks, because he's been spot on. Donovan Isom has used his legs at times to really give this Butchers team another heavy dynamic, but it just seems like the team that's going to make more plays in the second half is going to come out with a win. That being said, the Steelers have to feel really good about having themselves a 7-point lead here at halftime, considering that they did turn the ball over twice themselves in that half, one of them deep in their own end of the field. So all things considered, both teams are still in a position where they can take a win here. Both teams have played well enough offensively and defensively to feel that if they play a better 24 minutes, a cleaner 24 minutes, especially protect the ball, stay away from those big penalties that have hampered both teams are in a good position. But you know what? These 2 teams gave us a great game last year during the regular season. This one is fitting that bill just as much.
Sure is, and I think to build upon your point, my final takeaway has to be, after playing far from a perfect first half, if you're the Steelers, you have a 1-touchdown lead over the defending champions. You have to feel good about that on your home field. And I think if Kuopio can replicate what they did in that first half, minus the fumble by Jarman, I think that's the turnover that really, really stings. Whenever your quarterback coughs it up, that makes it a bit more difficult to take as an offense. But outside of that play, I think you have to feel really good about how you played in the first half. And if you can repeat that, you might have a chance to pull off what many would consider to be a big-time upset here in Week 4.
Yeah, no, 100%. And remember that the Steelers started this season with that big loss against the Giants. Not big in terms of score, but it turned a lot of heads. It shocked a lot of people. But they're starting to feel a little bit more of a rhythm to their season. How big would a 3rd straight win be?
Nice run back here on the kickoff by Irola, and now he's up the sideline. And Irola is going to take this one all the way for a Butchers touchdown.
Well, there's a way to swing momentum. The very first play of the second half, you run it all the way back, 90 yards for a touchdown. Irola, a victim of a couple of drops in this game, a couple of plays that were left on the field, and he more than makes up for it now with 6 points, and that is exactly a 98-yard return. I said 90. I didn't give him credit, and he made 1 and 2 guys miss on the way through.
Those good feelings coming out of Kuopio immediately take a hit, and now the Butchers are going for 2, and Isom completes. The 2-point try is good. Sepinen on the reception. And just like that, the Butchers take the lead 22-21.
Yeah, and I apologize. I got us back from the replay a little bit late, but we'll see that play in full here, the 2-point conversion. Let's take a look. And one play and a 2-point conversion, and just like that, all the good feelings going into halftime, being up by 7, you have momentum, your defense is playing well, forcing turnovers, your offense, ends the half with the final points of the second quarter. And here you go. This is the Butchers doing butchery things, taking the game over in one play. It's the opening kickoff, and just like that, they're up by 1.
We're going to need a dictionary check on that one.
Butchery, come on. In the PDF dictionary.
Porvoo is butchering. How about that?
Much better.
Okay.
Much better. Webster's dictionary would be very proud.
And they are kicking off here.
Yes, exactly. So, yeah, I know, we talk about a game of right hooks. There's one that puts the Steelers on the canvas a little bit. Now they get back up. Can they fight back? Oh, the Butchers were way offside on that kickoff.
That lead in the third quarter, very short-lived. Mack on the run back, maybe looking to change that, and he tries to leap over a pair of Butchers and is thrust out of bounds just shy of midfield. So a very good run back and a late flag as well.
Yeah, they'll decline this. The Butchers were way offside. Look at the top of your screen on this replay. They had one player who was like 2 yards ahead of the ball, easily and offside. But
they ruled it after the play was over.
No. It was right at the beginning, Joe. I saw it.
Oh, the flag did come out to begin the play. Okay,
yes,
I saw a flag come in after the play was over and thought there was something that occurred following the dead ball.
Yeah, and I think what they're discussing is that does this have to be an automatic re-kick, but the whistle was not blown. And I think if you're the Steelers, you just decline this penalty because you have the ball at midfield.
We talked a lot about both offenses and a lot about both defenses at the end of the first half leading into the third quarter, but how about the special teams on the returns? We've seen some big returns in this game.
Yeah, and also the conversions after touchdowns. I think we've had a perfect game, right? If I'm not mistaken, Joe. No, not the first one. The score was 6-0 to start. So, we've had 6 touchdowns in this game, and the conversions have been good and successful 5 out of 6 times.
The officials still sorting out that last play. We'll see if it necessitates a re-kick.
Yeah, decline that. All right, so...
and then there was another personal foul against the Steelers after the play ended. Yeah, I thought there was a flag that came in when that play was over. And in addition to the offsides flag that you picked up, there's one that comes in following the end of the play, and that backs them up 15 yards to the 29.
Yeah, and I'll make a point after this play, Joe.
The storm continues to roll through here. Just got an alert from the cable company regarding an outage. Fortunately, that is not on the same half of the room as the router, but I hear the rumblings outside as the Steelers get to the line for first down. Jarman looking to his left, airs it out downfield again, and Kuopio got all sorts of tied up, and there's the flag.
Yeah, it took a while for that one to come out, but, no choice there. I do not have a 21 on my roster for the Butchers, so I don't know who was on
I believe that was 31.
Oh, 31. I apologize there. Number 31 is Arrow Pilspainen, but this is going to be a pass interference up the field for an easy 15 yards, and it plays right into the point I was going to make before the play, Joe, is that very quietly in this game, because we've had so much action and so many big plays, penalties are really starting to become a factor in this one. We've seen penalties, put teams that were in third and short into a more third and long situation. We've seen them happen, nullifying plays. We saw that return up to the 50. Instead, the Steelers have to take it to the 30. Now this pass interference call. So they're starting to add up here, these penalty yards.
And we've seen it more than once, where Jarman gives his man a chance, and then on the ensuing play, a penalty flag comes in, and
ball's out
that
again.
Ball is loose. I thought that play was dead.
Yeah, I never heard a whistle. I think you were right.
I no longer have the volume from field level, Dave.
Oh, okay. No, I did not.
Setup.
There was no whistle on the play, Joe, but I thought his forward progress was easily stopped, and perhaps
exactly. I assumed the whistle that I could not hear. Poor phrasing, but the Butchers think they have it, and there has not been an official signal yet.
No, they're talking about it, and we're getting another look while they're talking about it.
I'm going to try and get the volume back. Let's see if we can get that in here.
Yeah, we get you back to live action.
All right, we got it back.
Okay.
Still no official ruling, and I think the right call is probably forward progress, but let's see.
Second down. Yeah, they ruled forward progress.
Yeah, I think that's the right call, Dave. I'm getting a look at it now.
Yep, and you know.
There's no question about that. I don't think.
The Butchers are pleading their case, and the only case they have is that the whistle hasn't blown. And to their point, they were right about that. You know, you teach these guys play through the whistle. That's what they did, and that fumble came before the whistle was blown. But that being said, I agree with you, Joe. Forward progress definitely stopped.
Jarman to throw. Downfield again. And complete. What a grab by Sepinen. And he is hurt.
I think that's Rubenstein.
Right.
Joe, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that was Rubenstein.
Yeah, and he made a great adjustment to that football. And that's been a throw that's been there today, that back shoulder throw where the route gets stopped. And take a look at the box on this screen, Joe. The Butchers rush 6, and that allows Rubenstein to have single coverage, bottom of your screen, and he just stops his route, and that ball is on his back shoulder. And he gets driven to the turf out of bounds. He's already, being cared for there, and he looks like he's getting up under his own power now, so that's a good sign. As Rubenstein trots back to his sideline, but the ball is going to be placed at the 20-yard line, 1st and 10.
All right, we have our rosters side by side again. Much tougher without the multiple monitors.
Sure.
Steelers now with it just outside of the red zone, perhaps right at the 20.
They got to cover up there.
And they're going to need a timeout here, it appears. I heard the sideline alerting them that they had just 5 seconds to snap the ball. And
well, with Rubenstein going out, Joe, Oliver Kirkkanen had to come in, and I believe that was Kirkkanen. It might have been Una Vartanen, number 46, not 48, but came in as the receiver and then lined up on the wrong side, and they didn't have the right tackle covered up. So that was going to be a 5-yard penalty. He was all out of sorts. Steelers have to call their first timeout instead.
Well, you hate to burn one there with the momentum on your side, especially after the lengthy stoppage due to the injury. And, of course, there is the confusion sometimes when you have to scramble and get a replacement out there. But they knew well in advance of that last play that they were going to need to get somebody in for Rubenstein.
Yeah.
And we saw the Butchers plagued by being forced to utilize timeouts in less than ideal circumstances during the first half.
Right, exactly. They took 2 in the first quarter early. Exhausted them all pretty early in the second quarter.
And handoff here. Mack, big hole up the middle, lowers his shoulder, inside the 5 and across the goal line. That is a Steelers touchdown.
Well, I'll tell you what, Joshua Mack is allowing people to forget about the name Ethan Greenfield here in Kuopio, because that's an Ethan Greenfield type play from last year. Remember him, Joe? Just power, a smaller frame, but able to pack a walloping punch. And, there's no excuse for this if you're the Butchers defensively here. You've got to bring this cat down. And unfortunately, Mack finds the second level, and then it's his game. It's his football game. And he's like, I'm not going to be denied. There's 3 black jerseys on his back. Touchdown, Steelers.
They will go for 2. Throw to the back pylon is off the numbers of the defensive back. That was Matila.
Yeah, and you know what, Joe? They elected to go for 2 there. That's the first time the Steelers have elected to go for 2 because they wanted to go up by a clean 7 points. But with the with the Butchers not really going for the 1 point afters, I'm really, I'm questioning that going for 2 in that situation. Why not go for the 1, put yourself up by 6, and then the Butchers are gonna go for 2 if they score a touchdown anyway. Doesn't matter if you're up by 7 at that point, So I don't know. I don't like that call to go for 2 in that spot, especially when Pekarainen has been brilliant kicking the ball here. I say go for the 1, take the 6-point touchdown lead.
Well, I agree with you, Dave, and the reason I agree with you is in part because of what you said. You know that the Butchers are going to go for 2 anyway, so being up by the 8, it does protect you in a way, I guess. I don't know.
7. They were trying to go up by 7.
Right.
You know? And I see the point. Then if you stop them a touchdown, you stop the 2-point conversion, you're still winning. But
yeah, exactly. It protects you from a touchdown tying the score.
Correct.
Is what I was going to say. And there's another solid return by Irola out across the 35-yard line. My philosophy typically is, unless it's very, very late in the game, like the other team may have 1 possession remaining offensively, I'm not trying to go up the extra points. And in this case, especially when the other team has not shown a willingness to kick, I'm with you. Just go up the 6.
Yeah. Butchers want to get this drive started pretty quickly here.
Certainly seems that way as they lined up very quickly. Trips to the left and a speed option here kept. And across the 45 and picking up the first down was Isom.
Yeah, and you mentioned the return by Irola on the kickoff, and, you know, it was a good return. It was like that was kind of like a touchdown-saving tackle because one more break of a tackle, he would have been off to the races. But I expect to see a lot of this in the second half. Isom with the ball in his hands on a relatively quiet day for Christian Powell.
That did not look like it was going to be a big play when it got started, as that handoff goes to Powell, and Powell spins forward for some extra yardage. And a late flag is in as well from the far side.
Yeah, so we just adjusted this to a 2nd and 3, but we'll have to see what this flag is about. Might have to bring that one back. But, yeah, I just finished mentioning that it's been a relatively quiet day for Christian Powell, and it has. But, you know, you have to think the Butchers down by 5 again want to start to get that established as well as they pick up the flag here.
All right, so no flag on this play. 2nd down and short coming up.
Yeah, I had it as 3. It might have been a little bit less than that. No,
I think you're right on the money, Dave. Look at that.
Cool.
Bit more size on the offensive line here. They have 6 on the line, and they will hand off to Powell. Powell just short of a first down by about a yard, and that will bring up 3rd.
Yeah, and you kind of get the sense with the Butchers feeling that the Steelers are starting to be a little bit more high-powered offensively, that this is not only, of course, trying to get the lead back, but also trying to play a little bit of keep away as well. You know, keep that Steelers offense off of the field and, you know, make this a longer drive, try to get the lead back and, you know, keep your defense off the field.
Once again, Isom in the gun. And he will hand off to Powell, who bounces outside and has the edge. He's up the sideline, inside the red zone, and gone! Christian Powell to the house for a Butcher's touchdown. And just like that, Porvoo back in front.
Well, just finished saying he's having a quiet day, and they go to him, 3 straight plays, Joe, and this is what he can do. And this time, this is the Steelers' error here as they just leave that right side wide open. The linebacker getting there late. You can see the desperation try to dive for his legs there. But Christian Powell, 2nd level, open field, not to be denied. They're going for 2 here to make it a 3-point game.
Isom in the gun, looking left, throwing, and it was broken up at the last moment. I think that was, and again, I have to get over to the other side of the roster sheet.
Stephen?
That was Mario Siltonen, according to my roster. Is that the roster you have, Dave?
Well, what number was that, Joe?
12.
I thought. Oh, okay, yeah. So that's Siltonen as well. Yeah, I thought maybe it was Lars Steffen who came in there, but either way, that's a nice play. Yeah, you're right, Joe. Siltonen. A little bit of a deflection. Still was a chance to complete that one, but it remains a 1-point game. And how about this, man? Like 21-14 at halftime, and the Butchers have already scored twice in this quarter. The Steelers were able to answer, and again, it's like a chess match, and it's their move coming up.
And we talk a lot about containing the quarterback and making sure the quarterback can't break contain and snap off a big run, and I think in the case of Jarman and at times Isom, that's relevant. But when it comes to your running lanes defensively, when it comes to setting the edge against the ball carrier, I think the Steelers need to do a better job of making sure that they set the edge in their defense of the run game and that they don't allow Powell to bounce to the outside as easily. They've been good between the tackles, but far too often in this game, Powell has been able to bounce runs to the outside and turn it upfield.
Butchers are offside again, Joe, on this kickoff.
Did they flag it?
Yes, they did.
All right. Marshall on the run back takes it across the 30.
Yeah, and getting to your point, I think the Steelers were having a lot of success against Powell when he was running between the tackles. And
exactly.
We said it.
Yeah.
We said it in the second quarter that they might be wise to utilize him in the flat and maybe just throw the ball out there in the flat, allow him to kind of see green in front of him going off tackle. And that's exactly what that last play was. Off tackle right side. He's able to get the edge. The linebacker gets in there late, desperately dives at his shoelaces, but you're not going to tackle Christian Powell that way. It's impossible.
So I would presume they're going to add 5 to the end of this.
Either that or
a re-kick. I think, I think you just take the 5.
They took the yardage and they'll add 5. Yep.
They were very quickly set after that. It almost looked like a time jump.
They want to get going. The Steelers' offense is humming.
And handoff goes to Mack up the middle. There may have been a flag from the near side. Now it's a short gain.
Looks like, attention goes to the white hat, so we'll see.
Yeah, I think there was a flag that came in right after that play got started. Likely a hold against Kuopio, but we'll see.
Well, we haven't gotten a call yet, but they are backing it up here. 5-yard variety.
Yeah, so a false start?
Yeah, obviously we didn't hear the whistle.
Yeah, they played straight through it.
Right. We'll back them up 5, 2nd and 15. 1st and 15, sorry.
Steelers trailing by 1. Have now a 1st and 15 from their own 32. 2 receivers to the left of the formation. Have to watch that screen pass. This time it's a rollout by Jarman. And he finds a wide-open Marshall down the field. He jukes away from one tackler, but was stopped a couple of yards short of a first down.
Yeah, he was very close. Almost had it on that second try up the field, but he's going to be placed a yard short here. Actually make it 3 yards short as his forward progress was stopped at the 44-yard line.
Going to be a 2nd down and 3. 2 receivers stacked to the right of the formation, 1 receiver wide left. Jarman hands off to Mack. Mack lowers his shoulder, and I think they marked him right at the sticks.
Yeah, I think this will be a first down. Surprised the whistles didn't come up earlier with one of the Butchers losing his hat on that play. And they are going to move the sticks here for a first down.
So it is a first down run for Mack. And we really haven't seen this game slow down like this very much since really the midway point of the second quarter. After that Butchers drive ended, the pace picked up a bit.
Yeah.
Had that lengthy Butchers drive, and since then the points have come quickly. Jarman downfield again, and Kuika makes the catch out of bounds.
Yeah, no chance that time. That would let him too far out of bounds. But, Joe, I want to make the point again, and I don't want to belabor it, but the Steelers, by not kicking the 1-point conversion on their last touchdown, now find themselves down by 1. So the scenario that we mentioned has officially played out, right? So instead of taking the 1, they try to go for 2 so that they'd have the lead regardless. They don't make it, and now they're down by 1 instead of being tied. So, again, we talk about chasing points during games. Let's hope that one doesn't come back to bite them.
Yeah, I was with you at the time, Dave. I would not have gone for the 2. As Mack carries it again, tackle just shy of the Butchers' 45-yard line, but that does take the Steelers into Porvoo territory.
Yeah, that's a nice healthy gain of 8. I only gave him 6. I have to make this a 3rd down and 2 instead. But, you have to have a lot of confidence in your running game to run the ball on 2nd down and 10, especially up the middle against this Butchers team. But Steelers are not blinking here. They are reaching into their playbook.
Another handoff, and this time Mack is stonewalled by the Porvoo defensive front.
Yeah, talk about having confidence in your run game. There's another example where you're running it right up the pipe. And he did get 1, so he gets a yard closer, 4th down and 1. And you talk about the game slowing down a little bit, Joe. This is a perfect opportunity for the Butchers to get themselves off the field and finally slow down this Steelers attack and give the ball back to your offense, which has been electric here in the second half, of course, helped along by that big kickoff return to start.
Biggest play of the game coming up right here. 4th and a yard. Mack stopped and will not get it. That one never had a chance, and the Butchers defense holds on 4th down.
Well, you hit it, Joe. Never had a chance. A little bit of a delay on the handoff here, and the fact that Mack has to go across the line to make something happen here. He gets this ball and wants to go up the middle. Wants to go wide left, but has to turn it back up the middle. Nothing doing. Stonewall, that's a 2-yard loss on the play, and instead, Butchers ball with their offense starting to roll with a 1-point lead. Let's see if they can make it hurt.
I am shocked that they didn't design a play where Jarman could keep the football on 4th down, Dave.
Good point, because that misdirection
with Mack.
Right, that misdirection and that option has worked for them. We've seen it, time and time again. But they call the other dynamic runner's number in Mack and not going to win it that time. 1st and 5 coming up.
Credit to the Porvoo defense making a big play right there.
Yeah, agreed.
Following a penalty, it's 1st and 5 from across midfield. Isom rolling to his right, avoids the pressure and now has room. And he ducked out of bounds quite early there.
Yeah, but saving himself. Remember, he got banged up earlier in the game, too, when he went down kind of awkwardly. That wasn't a running play, but, yeah, I do expect this more in the second half. He didn't do a lot of this in the first half, and he is just so, he has that gift to get into the open field, find open green, and run over people. So, got to watch that if you're the Steelers. The Butchers are in business.
Porvoo with it now inside of the Steelers' 40. It's a handoff to Powell. Good patient running there as he found a crease and takes it inside the 30. Picked up about 7 there.
Yeah, I was going to say, no one makes a 7-yard gain more kind of like boring than Christian Powell. I hate to use that word because he's not a boring runner, but that's just a simple, churn the legs, get the hard yards, and the next thing you know, he's 7 yards up the field. It's a wonder why they don't give the ball to him 40 times a game.
I knew what you were going to say after that play, Dave, and I was thinking the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Made that 7-yard run look so routine, but not this time. 2 Steelers meet him in the backfield, and speaking of plays that never had a chance, that one certainly falls into that category.
Yeah, that's reminiscent of the first drive of the game, really the first couple of drives of the game where the Steelers were in the backfield to meet Powell at the point of attack, right at the line of scrimmage. And then you get hands on him enough to ruin his forward progress, and then the cavalry comes in. That's the way to game plan against Christian Powell, but here we go, 3rd and 3, a lot of options.
Pistol look on 3rd and short, ball at the 30, 4-down territory for the Butchers. And Powell makes that a moot point as he's inside the red zone and down just outside of the 15-yard line.
Yeah, it doesn't look like much of a sexy play. It doesn't look like anything really, fancy here. Give it to your big guy. He's got you got guys out wide gaining a lot of attention. 3rd down and 3. Everything's on the table. Just give it to the bell cow and let him find the hole. And he does a great job with his vision. Turns it into a 10-plus yard gain.
Isom now in the gun, flanked by Powell.
Butchers in the red zone. Isom looking right. Time running out, and he is sacked. Isom thrown down to the turf by Damian Lowry.
That's a nice picture-perfect tackle by Lowry as well. Doesn't bite, doesn't raise the hands completely up and take himself out of the play and allow Isom to kind of slip by him. Wraps him up. Big loss on the play of 6 yards. Maybe a little bit more. Make it a 2nd and 17.
They'll line up in the gun once again, this time with trips to the left. Isom flanked by Powell. Bit of a high snap, and he'll keep it on the option. Isom stumbling forward, almost ran over the last line of defense. And Isom is within about 3 or 4 yards of a first down.
Yeah, agreed, Joe. I mean, that's a nice, really nice run. Starts with a really great ball fake that he makes to freeze the corner or the linebacker on the play. That allows him to find the open lane. And he's a good 4 yards short here, but it'll be a 3rd down. And once again, about typical 3rd down yardage in this quarter for the Butchers. It allows them to go deep into the playbook for any number of plays here.
That speed option has given the Steelers some problems. That's twice where it didn't look like it was going anywhere and turned into a big play. This time it's Powell on the handoff, looking for room, fighting forward, and I think he got just enough.
I don't know, Joe. He might be just a hair short, maybe a half a yard. That first down marker looks like at the 6 yard line, and I think they're going to spot this at the 7. Let's see.
I think he needed the 7.
He could be right. Well, they put up the fist, so it is going to be 4th down.
Yeah, that
but
line's
not
judge
by
on the
much.
far side, awfully close to the first down. But you're right, Dave. It's closer to the 6th than the 7, and he was just short. And we saw the Butchers' defense make a huge play to get off the field on 4th earlier. The Steelers hoping for the same from their defense. The Butchers looking for a big play out of their offense. 4th and inches. Powell hit and stopped.
Didn't get it, and that ball came out. The ball came out too, Joe.
I think he was down already, but it doesn't matter. He's short.
Right, I agree. Where he's down right now is well short, and there we go. There's the official call. Wow, what a play. You know, you got to feel really good if you're a Butchers fan on a 4th down and 1 with Isom and Powell in your backfield. You're going to get this almost automatically, but not to be. What a great job by the Steelers. And what a hold. Both teams holding on 4th and 1 on that, back-to-back drives.
It is not often that we see Christian Powell carry the ball for less than a yard in any situation.
Right.
And perhaps the biggest situation that he will carry the ball in during this game, the Steelers defense comes through with the stop.
No, terrific. And both teams really doing what they need to do on 4th down. And, look at the area of the field, too. The Butchers were knocking on the door. Again, they're not a kicking team per se, so we didn't expect them to kick a field goal in this spot. But, that was on the table. Instead, you go for it. You got to feel pretty good about your chances. But the moxie on this Steelers team to rise up against the league's best back, one of the best that's ever played in the country of Finland, perhaps the best, and getting a hold there, that's huge.
Well, I think something to keep in mind, too, as we're still in the 3rd quarter, is that down the stretch of this game, it appears the Steelers would be willing to kick to win it. That diamond formation sets up an open man over the middle, and Marshall dropped the ball.
Yeah, he had to go back across his body. That looked kind of similar to the touchdown he caught, except that ball was a little bit lower. This one a little bit higher. He has to readjust the body and lose his concentration here and can't come down with the catch. But you're right. It's a play that could be made, and if it is made, he might be still running.
That one hurts. That one hurts if you're the Steelers, because not only did he have plenty of room, but he had time, even with the throw behind him, to adjust, bring it in, and then make one man miss. Another look out of the gun. This time it's a handoff to Mack, and he powers his way through a small hole in the line and picked up a few. Looked like 3.
Yeah, not much. Maybe to get a little bit more breathing room in the pocket for Jarman on this next play. Perhaps to keep the clock moving a little bit here. Keep your defense on the field. Keep them a little bit more rested. But, it's a big third down here, because if you have to punt from this area of the field, as good as they've done kicking the ball here, you're going to give the ball back to the Butchers in really good field position. It's a big third down.
3rd and 7. Low snap. Jarman under pressure. Finds an open man on the crossing route, and a big hit right at the sticks. And I think they got just enough for the first down.
Yeah, Karkanen had to sacrifice his body, but had to go towards that stick, and was successful at getting that first down.
Wow, Oliver Karkanen was simply destroyed at the end of that play, and he got up and immediately pointed downfield to signal first down. The lines judge agrees, and that is a huge conversion for this Kuopio offense.
Yeah, that's a stick right there.
Jarman looking to throw again. Has time and finds Marshall. He goes up to get it, deals out a stiff arm, and is out across the 35 and close to the 40.
Yeah, and again, Marshall had to kind of rise up and pluck that one out of the air. And just like that, you're stuck at your own 10-yard line, and 2 plays later, you're almost at the 35. It's a nice job by Marshall to get, again, reach kind of across his body, have to go opposite angle to make that catch in traffic, come down with it, get a couple extra yards. Good play by the Steelers.
Kuopio working out of the gun as a flag comes out. Looked like a pre-snap penalty. That might have been a delay of game.
That's odd, because they look like they really tried to.
Yeah, false start.
Yeah, get it going quicker. But, yeah, these unforced errors and these penalties, you hope they don't rear their ugly head. That's, again, another negative play on a drive where you're starting to hum. You got 2 or 3 positive plays in a row, and then you go backwards 5 yards. Still first down, so at least you got all 4 downs to work with here. But it could be a big penalty. Big penalty if it upsets the drive.
Well, you have a long way to go to get points on this drive, and every one of these pre-snap penalties adds up. And the more plays you have to run offensively, the fewer possessions you get the rest of the game, and that makes this possession more important with every second that comes off the clock. Now, both teams are headed for their sidelines. We'll see if they're going to switch sides. I did not see them signal the end of the quarter.
Yeah, but I think they are here, just the way the body language is here, and they're switching the field. But
here they go. They're moving the football now. So we are headed to the 4th quarter in Kuopio. The Butchers leading the Steelers by 1, 28-27.
Just every bit the game that we expected, or that we were promised based on last year's result, a 1-point game, and that's exciting, Joe. It's exciting. Last year we didn't see a lot of these close games in the Maple Leaf, but we're getting a taste of it this year, and we're getting treated to a good one here in Kuopio.
Yeah, and I mentioned before at the end of the first half, this game really picked up in terms of pace. We had that long Butchers drive that yielded them points and tied the score. But after that, these two teams really began to throw haymakers back and forth, both in the form of big returns and scoring drives. And the Steelers have slowed things down a bit here. Jarman looking to throw, and again gives Mack a chance in coverage. That's probably going to draw a flag. And I thought they might. I thought they might throw it.
I thought Little John tried to hold up a little bit. Maybe not the full way, but I think he could have really destroyed Mack on this play, and he didn't. And again, in this league, that's usually going to get an automatic flag, but they're still pleading their case. Mack is down due to cramps, but let's see.
Personally, I don't think... I have to see the replay.
I just showed it here, and you'll see it on your own time.
Yeah, without the extra monitors, I really haven't seen much in terms of replays.
Yeah, we're showing it again.
Yeah, I'm trying to get a look now.
Yeah, I think he held up enough. Little John easily could have made that. I think he's too late,
Dave. I think he's way too late on that. That's probably a penalty in my book.
Yeah. No, I could see it. I would not have been upset had it been called, because it's like, you figure, especially in the Vaahteraliiga, where player safety is paramount over everything, but not to be.
Harder and may have eased up, but the ball is already on the turf long before he comes in. So you hate to see a game decided on a play like that, but letter of the law, I think that's probably a penalty.
That's fair.
They'll fake the handoff here. Jarman, without much time, able to complete down the field. Another big chunk through the air for Kuopio. This time, it's on Terry Juvonen.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Jarman's vision and his pocket has been really good. You got to give credit to his offensive line. This is a good Butchers pass rush that he's dealing with, but his ability to step in, he's going to absorb a hit, and to make the read there, that's just a nice ball and a great catch too.
Well, I always say the same thing when evaluating a quarterback. What do they do under pressure in a collapsing pocket with a lineman bearing down? And Jarman has passed that test multiple times. And he throws sideline here into tight coverage, incomplete. But he did put that ball in a spot where only his man could get it.
It should be noted here that Mack is still out of the game, Joe. Oh, now he just came back in. He missed a couple of plays. He was cramping up. They were stretching him on the sideline, and now he's back. So that's a good sign here for the Steelers here on this 2nd and long coming up.
2nd and 10, Kuopio just across the 50 at the Porvoo 47-yard line. 4th quarter just underway here in Kuopio. Jarman will look to throw, swings it to Mack in the flat, and he's going to lose a yard.
Yeah, they haven't run that play. They really haven't run the screen all that much in this game, and that one goes for a loss of 1. And it's going to bring up a big 3rd down and 11 here. The Steelers have done well. Both teams have really done well on 3rd and long in this game, but you wonder if the Butchers are ever going to bring extra pressure here because, again, like the game against the Roosters last week, Jarman seems to be getting more and more comfortable as the game goes on, and as a defensive coordinator, my one goal is to make the opposite quarterback uncomfortable. They show 4. They bring the 5th and 6th. Here they come.
Downfield, and Koika comes back to make the grab just outside of the 20.
Wow. And, again, the Butchers rushed 6 on this play. I said they might bring pressure. They did. Jarman's able to hang in there. He's going to take a hit at the end of this throw. Again, the receiver, Kuika, is able to stop his route, sit down, and make that catch. It's almost an impossible play to defend if you're not aware that that ball is up in the air already. And the Steelers convert another big 3rd and long.
Time and time again, Jarman gives his man a chance, and they've rewarded him. This time it's a screen to Marshall, complete. And they're inside the 15, down to the 14-yard line. And that's a gain of 8 to bring up 2nd and maybe 3. We'll give him 7.
Yeah, best part about that play, Marshall covering up as he's about to get hit and pinballed between 2 defenders there. Make sure ball security is paramount here. Keep this drive alive. Remember, a field goal gets you back the lead in a game where you've been kicking the ball pretty well.
Jarman back in the gun, flanked by Mack. 2 receivers to the left, 1 man wide right. Jarman hands off to Mack, and they go down low to stop Mack right at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, nothing doing. And, ever since Mack scored that touchdown earlier, he's really been grounded here in the ground game. And you have to think that the Butchers on their sideline are talking about that. It's like the Steelers team has a lot of weapons, but their number 1 weapon is number 6. So make sure if he's getting the carries, we're getting guys on him. We're staying committed to our lanes. And it's worked so far. It's a 3rd down and 3, another big 3rd down for the Steelers. Look at the cushion that Marshall's getting in the slot.
Have to watch that screen on a 3rd and short. They could easily throw that. And they'll throw the quick out. He's all alone, and he dives in for the touchdown. You called it, Dave. A massive cushion allowed to Marshall, and an injury on the backside of that play for Porvoo as well, but it's a Steelers touchdown, and they've regained the lead.
Well, Joe, we talk sometimes about head-scratching moments in games. This is one for me. I mean, it's a 3rd down and 3. Marshall is one of the biggest threats on the field, and he's getting 15 yards of cushion on a 3rd down and 3. He makes this catch with ease, and the nearest defender to him is 8 yards away from him. There's no excuse for that if you're the Butchers there. I mean, that's just one of the best weapons that you've essentially left unmarked and let walk into the end zone for 6 points. That's a head scratcher for me. I don't get it.
I'm completely with you, Dave, and I think a big reason why it's so perplexing is that they like to run those slot screens when given that space, and they only needed 3 yards.
Yeah, this is more like it. Look at the cushion now.
The goal for 2. Jarman flips to Mack. Mack turns the corner and takes it in for the 2-point conversion. Kuopio in front by 7, and the Steelers convert for 2 in a big spot. But Dave, again, they make the decision to try for the 2. This time they succeed.
Yeah, and because they're successful, it makes the missed, point after, or the missed 2-point conversion the last time, a moot point. So it's almost like they kicked a 1-point conversion twice now, which is, I think, what they should have done in the first place. So now they're up by a clean 7, and you're able to, stay with a lead, even if you give up a touchdown, but are able to stop a 2-point conversion if the Butchers hold true and continue with 2-point conversions. But I'm not sure how many times the lead has changed, Joe, but in this half, I think it's changed 4 times already. The Steelers had it to start. The Butchers took it. The Steelers took it back. The Butchers took it. And now the Steelers have it back. This has been a war here, and we still have most of the fourth quarter to go. Hang on, people.
It has been an extremely fun game despite the outside circumstances that have hindered my connectivity. And there's still plenty of time left in this fourth quarter. So stay with us. Game of the week for week 4 here in the Maple League, streaming on the PDF Sports Network. As this run back is stalled for a moment, but now Irola able to find some room and make it out close to the 35.
Yeah, both teams have started out in good field position. Field position has not been a factor all game except for maybe the turnovers on downs that both teams had to start inside their own 10 at one point in this game. But I think the question now is, who's going to make that big defensive play? Both defenses have made one big defensive play in this half. That was the stop on 4th and 1. The Butchers had a big stop on 4th and 1. The Steelers did. But I think it's going to take a big turnover, a big play defensively to maybe turn this one on its head.
Fake by Isom and a short flip to a wide open Powell. The Steelers have to find him, and eventually they force him out just shy of midfield. But you got to look there early in that play, Dave, to the point you made earlier. They get it to Powell in the flat, and Steelers defense had their backs to him.
Yeah, they did. And, again, Powell's in there to protect at first. But then when there's nothing doing down the field, because the Steelers have 7 guys in coverage, he becomes an option for Isom, and a good one. Gain of 13.
This time they'll hand off to Powell. And he is across midfield for a gain of 2 or 3 yards.
Yeah, and again, it's going to be, the game is 10 minutes to go, 9 minutes to go here at this point. So, if you're the Butchers, you have to think about, yes, you got it. You need a touchdown to tie, 2-point conversion to take the lead, but you also want to get that clock down as well.
Hand off to Powell again. It's another short gain. And we'll bring up 3rd down.
Yeah, I have it at 3rd and 6, and again, another big play here because this is not an area of the field where it's 4-down territory. So if you're able to get a stop here for the Steelers, you're probably going to force a punt where the Butchers will want to get you pinned in. But this is a big play here for the Steelers defense to potentially get off the field, as the Butchers will go wide here with 4 wide receivers.
Spread shotgun set. The Sticks read 2nd down. It is 3rd down. They just changed that. And Isom didn't have his first read, forced to roll right, looking downfield. He throws and he completes. Irola coming across the middle, deep downfield, makes the grab. But I think we had whistles come in behind the play, and they're walking this one back.
Yes, we did. And while we bring you the call, we'll show you the replay. I think if there's one weakness, Joe, to Donovan Isom's game, it's his throws on the run. Not the case here with this one. I mean, he's running, he's throwing off his back foot. That is an absolute dart of a throw. Perfect harmony with Irola, but it's coming back for holding, as you mentioned.
Another backbreaker of a penalty. We've seen a lot of these penalties in this game where big plays have come back. Both sides have been hurt by them at different times in this game.
Now, we said it at halftime that very quietly in this game, penalties are becoming a big factor, and that's the case here. This one is a 6-yard to make it as 1st and 16.
Trips to the left. Isom in the gun. 3rd and very long now. 3rd and 16, Isom. Steps up, throws, and he's well short of Irola, and perhaps fortunately.
I think we lost Joe's audio here. Joe,
I'm still here, Dave.
Okay, yeah, no, your audio kicked out for about 3 or 4 seconds there, right at the end of that.
Yeah, I've lost you a couple of times, but I picked you back up within a few seconds.
Okay, so it's 4th and 16, and the Butchers, like we mentioned before, obviously not in the area of the field where they can go, so they'll have to punt this one.
Butchers with 4th and 16, as you said, Dave, decision taken completely out of their hands, and I'm not sure there's any situation where they go on their own side of the 50. As Marshall is stopped across the 30-yard line, that's where Kuopio will take over. And the Steelers now with a big-time opportunity. They have the ball, they have the lead, and if they can take some time off the clock, they can really put the Steelers, or I should say the Butchers, with their backs up against the wall.
Yeah, well, they've had the ball on offense 3 times in this half, and they've scored 2 touchdowns. The only time they didn't score was on that big 4th and 1 stop where they were driving. So they have to feel really good here about their situation. You know, they've regained the lead that they had at halftime, and now they have the ball in their hands, you know, coming upon the midway point of the 4th.
Handoff goes to Mack, and that is another short gain. And you have to think we're at a point in this game now where both of these defenses are going to commit to stopping the run, not allowing big plays to come on the ground, force these quarterbacks to put it in the air.
Yeah, and that's dangerous too, right? Because both quarterbacks have been pretty good in this one, and they've been good at running the football too. So we'll have to see. But, you know, again, both teams will want to run the ball, especially with the lead, and that's where the Steelers are right now.
Quick screen, Marshall. Across the 35 and pushed out of bounds. He'll take that.
Yeah, I think he got a good 5 yards on that play, maybe a little bit more. Sets up a 3rd and 3 or 4 here. We'll see where the exact spot is. Looks like a 3rd and 3 coming up.
Well, I don't think there's any chance the Steelers would go for this if they come up short. So just as quickly as they punted the ball to Kuopio, it's a chance on defense for the Butchers to get off the field.
Yeah, very good point. Big play here. Pressure coming.
Snap, Jarman, quick throw, complete.
Ooh, that's close. Very close.
Might have gotten just enough.
1st down.
Arkanen with another big reception. We saw him make a reception for a big 1st down on the last scoring drive for Kuopio. He comes through here again and picked up just enough for the 1st.
Replay got away from me for a little bit, but we are going to see it now before this play is run.
You have some time.
Yeah, looks like forward progress did get him there, so that's a good spot.
Trips to the right, Jarman in the gun, flanked by Mack. He fakes the handoff and throws the screen. Karkanen makes one man miss, but could not avoid a second, and he's tackled for a 1-yard loss.
Yeah, short loss. Again, the Steelers putting the ball in the air, but they want to be high percentage when they do to keep that clock moving. So that's the positive of a play like that. 35 seconds are going to come off the clock. You see the Steelers no longer in a big rush to get to the line and run plays here. With that lead, 7 points, they can take their time. But you don't want to go backwards here. 2nd down and a long 10.
And it's a handoff to Mack. No running room to be found, and a loss of another yard.
And, Joe, now you have to start asking the question, how conservative is too conservative, right? I mean, it's only a 7-point game. You know, again, they've run the ball on 2nd and long before and have gotten 6 and 7 yards. But if you're the Steelers now, are you being too conservative here? And now what do you do on 3rd and 11? Do you put the ball down the field and risk an incompletion? Or do you do something high percentage and let your wide receiver do most of the work on the flanks?
Against Porvoo, you have to play to win. You can't play not to lose.
Agreed.
Jarman throwing downfield. It's caught. Wow. And a big hit does not jar it loose. first down, first reception of the game for Liro-Pekka Paki.
Yeah, and
he's hurt.
He's shaken up, and you understand why, obviously. But as he took a big shot, but to hang on to this ball, which was thrown again on a rope, and to absorb this hit, I don't know if anybody else but Pekka Paki can absorb a hit like that with his size and get back up. And they did mark him short here, Joe, 4th and about 1.5 feet.
That's a big spot.
Yeah, and we're going to watch it again just to be sure about that spot. Let's see where he lands. It's hard for me to tell, but yeah, it's a pretty good spot. It's a pretty good spot. I like that spot. And if it's short, it's short.
Well, we saw earlier the Butchers with a 4th and inches, handed off to Powell. He didn't get it. I thought maybe Isom keeps it. Earlier in the game, Steelers had short yardage to go. They handed off rather than keeping it with their quarterback, Jarman. And I was a bit surprised they didn't run it with the quarterback. I think maybe he carries it this time.
Let's see. I mean, the way the Butchers have attacked the point of impact and the ball carrier, I like a misdirection on a play like this, Joe. I like, an option play for Slade to take it himself and read the defense. But on a play like this, I wouldn't even be opposed to something like a tush push or, just go over your center. Just hike the ball, go over center, get the foot that you need if you're Jarman, and move the sticks. Keep the clock moving as well.
Yeah, I think you're running some sort of play where the ball stays in the hands of your quarterback here.
Yep.
But both of these teams have big quarterbacks who could push the pile.
Correct, yeah.
My reservation, if I recall, I do believe it was the game last week. It was. I watched it back a bit earlier. They tried to run a quarterback sneak on the goal line last week, and it was a disaster. I think we're going to get an option here. Jarman in the gun. And he's keeping it, and he is picking up the first down.
Yeah, good call, Joe, and it is a good call for this Steelers team. It's a play that has worked, and Jarman, the best part about this, Joe, is he makes his decision extremely early here. That's what you have to do on a 4th and a foot here. Make the decision early. You get one quick look at the defense and make your move, and that's exactly what he did. No hesitation. Go down, get the yard that you need. 4 more downs for the Steelers.
Based on the look of that, I think it was a design run for Jarman all the way. Quarterback power. I don't think he had any option to pitch that ball.
Yeah.
I like that play call a lot. It's the first time we've seen it in this game, which makes it that much more impactful. They'll hand off to Mack again. He cuts up field. He has blocking, and he's in the open field. Inside the 10-5, touchdown Kuopio.
Well, what a seal they got on that left side of the line, Joe. Again, I don't know if it was the left tackle or the tight end who came in or the receiver who came in who kind of sealed up that spot because, the Butchers were bringing some pressure from that side, but great job to side. Yeah, it was the tight end who made a really great block there and just destroyed the right defensive end and just moved him 5 yards to his left, and that allowed Mack to do the rest. Wow, you pick up a big 4th down conversion. It turns into 6 points on the very next play, and now they go for 1 to make it a 14-point game against the defending champs.
The PAT is good. Porvoo with their backs up against the wall now, trailing by 14. And there probably isn't much more than half of this quarter remaining, if that.
Yeah, and Joe, I don't think in PDF we've seen the Butchers down by 2 scores ever, right? I mean, if at all in games,
Have we seen them trail by more than a touchdown at any point?
No, that's what I mean. That's what I mean, more than a score. Okay. They were down in the game against Kuopio last year, but down by 14. This is uncharted territory, at least for us, when we've taken in the Butchers. And the Steelers now, and I think you said it, we have to be above the midway point of this 4th quarter, at least. And it's a shame we don't have the correct time, but 42-28, man, you're in an enviable position if you're the Steelers here.
Did they ever trail in the game against Helsinki?
No. Oh, no, maybe the first drive of the game, Joe.
Yeah, it might have been early.
I think
I watched that
Helsinki
game back not too long ago. That Kuopio Porvoo game still isn't on our back end in the archive on
because
YouTube?
it's not able to be archived, Joe. We'll have to look into that.
Okay. Kickoff ends up in the end zone, and unsurprisingly, Irola will take it out. He's across the 20, out to the 30, and wrapped up there.
That's a shot.
Porvoo will get started at their own 31, trailing by 2 scores, and needing to work quickly by my estimation, Dave. As you mentioned, we don't know exactly how much time is left, but...
Joe, I just got the time left. 3:08. No, 3:18. 3:18 remaining in the game.
3:18. Butchers football. And as I said, needing a quick score. Isom takes off up the field, gets a nice block, and that's probably going to draw a flag. Indeed it does.
Yep, and...
No need for that.
No need for it. You know Isom. Well, you don't really know Isom's going to take a slide there.
It doesn't matter if he takes it or not, because he's not in the open field.
Yep. No, I know. This is
It was a late slide, to be fair to the defender, Pekarainen. It was a late slide, no doubt, but he didn't need to go in to try and make the tackle that way.
Right.
He had 2 defenders right there with him.
Yeah, I just looked at the replay. It's a lot closer than I thought it was at first.
He slid late.
Yeah.
No doubt.
And the way Isom runs, if you're a defender, you know, you do have to think, like, I have to go and get down on this guy and bring him down because he's going to drop a shoulder on me.
Yeah.
So I feel for Pekarainen in that moment, but it's an easy flag to throw.
You sympathize with the defender there because is he aware that he has 2 white jerseys with him in the area? You would have to think so, considering he came in from the secondary, but you're not going to take a chance there that Isom runs you over and potentially takes it down the field for a touchdown. I think you have to just avoid that situation and live to fight another down.
Well,
because to get that foul called, you do have to lower the shoulder and drive yourself into the offensive player. If you're going low for a tackle, ideally you'd like to wrap up and not go in leading with the crown of the helmet, but it's a tough spot to be in, no doubt.
Well, they get the ball in Steelers territory, though, on just a couple plays.
They're a big play away from scoring range. Because I think you do have to take some shots downfield. I don't think you can afford to methodically march this ball. And they're going to call a false start on the Butchers here, so back them up 5.
Yeah, and unlike the first half, the Butchers do have all 3 timeouts left and the 2-minute warning here, so they're not, the Steelers are not out of the woods yet. And on 2 plays, the Butchers have gone 20-plus yards. They've just gone backwards 5 more, but you got to at least it can't be prevent from here, that's for sure.
Isom looking to throw, stepping up, taking off, and he's into the second level with a blocker.
Oh, what a block.
Across the 30 and out of bounds at the 27-yard line.
Sepidin threw a really nice block. Not only did it get Isom more yards, but it also allowed him to get the sideline and stop the clock naturally here as we're going to get another look at it. But it's like one of the linemen fell there, and nice block here.
Trips to the right this time, and they are already down to the 27. If you're the Steelers, you need to slow them down here, as there's a completion to the 12. And Dave, they're doing it again. They're in this soft defense. Isom, once he steps up through the pocket, has plenty of room to run. If he's well protected, there are gaping holes in the secondary.
Yeah, and just finding a pocket in that zone and sitting down in it and making yourself open was Irola easy as they set up from just beyond the 10. And we have a whistle here, Joe. I think this is the 2-minute warning. It's 2 minutes. Yeah, 2 minutes left.
And how many timeouts do we have the Butchers with?
We have them with 3. We just said they haven't taken one yet. So
if they
it's
score
not over
without burning one, this gets interesting.
Absolutely, because then you can burn them on the Steelers drive, hope for a 3 and out, and get the ball back.
Yeah, I don't think there's any situation where I take a timeout on this drive if I'm the Butchers, barring, a sack that turns a 3rd down into a 4th and long. I don't think there's any other situation where you call timeout here.
Right, and if you're the Butchers, I don't think there's any situation where you're going to run the football, even though you have, Christian Powell, unless Isom tucks it down himself. But, I think you're going to have to put the ball in the air, probably all 4 times in the end zone or on a slant pattern, and try to get yourself within 1 score and a chance.
Isom in the gun. Powell flanking him in the backfield. 1st and 10 from the 12. Isom running out of time. Breaks a tackle. Fakes the flip and takes it in for the touchdown. First play out of the 2-minute warning, and Isom finds the end zone.
And they're right back in the game, Joe. And again, it was Isom who had to tuck it down. This is pretty good coverage on all areas. This is pretty good protection or pressure that's put on Isom. And then look at the little fake and jukes to the right. Easy touchdown for Isom. And they're going to go for 2 here to get to within 6.
Converting here puts some pressure on the Steelers.
Sure does.
Isom will keep. Isom lowering the shoulder, spins off the initial contact, and gets across the goal line.
Wow. On the first effort, short, stood up, not getting it, but keeps those legs turning, his back towards the goal line, and, with a little help from his friends, Isom gets over, and we got a game again here. Butchers with all 3 timeouts left. And just like you just mentioned, Joe, only 1 play inside of 2 minutes that were run. That drive took just a little bit over a minute, and the Butchers are right back in the game.
Dave, you know where I'm going.
You're going with the coverage on the Steelers having given up another
Dave,
easy
They did it again.
Yeah.
Just way, way too soft.
Yeah.
I mean, that drive came far too easily. You had the 15-yard penalty. That hurts. And a lot of the time when you're in the 2-minute drill, the X factor is the quarterback's ability to step up through the pocket and scramble. I get that. But after the first run by Isom, there needed to be an adjustment to stop him from doing it again. They complete a big pass to the sideline and get out of bounds. And then backed up against their own end zone with 1st and 10 from the 12, Isom is relatively unchecked right up the middle again.
Yeah.
They could have called a quarterback draw, and he's probably untouched.
Right. And the linebacker was there, but left on an island, and that little fake flip, it was just enough to freeze him in his tracks, and Isom made it look pretty easy from there. But you're right, Joe. It's just, and maybe an onside kick coming here, the way they're lining up. So maybe the Butchers not willing to give the ball back.
We'll see.
They recovered it, Joe.
They got it.
Wow.
How quickly this game has turned.
Holy smokes. I mean, perfectly executed. That bounce off the onside kick was a thing of beauty. We're going to have to slow it down because our camera
I need to slow down. Look, from our wide shot perspective, it was tough to tell. You have better eyes than me. I'm about to get a second look at it now.
Yeah, I think we're moving. Are we moving? Maybe not. I think I think it froze a little bit. Let's try that again. Yeah, now our replay is moving, and we'll try to see if we get the hop here.
That's a wide look we had.
Yeah, it just took a really high bounce, and it went the requisite 10 yards. And, all that being said, the Butchers do have a way to go here. They have to go 52 yards in a minute and a half.
Powell has it, and he picks up 3, 4, 5, 6. How about that, man?
Yeah, they do have to.
Driving the legs, Powell turned what looked to be a short gain of 1 or 2 into a gain of 6.
But they will have to hurry here. Time is of the essence.
That is a bold play call to run it as well. And Isom's pass is knocked down and complete.
Well, good news for the Butchers is that stops the clock. But mission number 1 is you have to get this first down here. It's 3rd down and 4, obviously 4-down territory, but you have all 3 timeouts, so time is a factor, obviously, but it's not as big a factor as resetting the down and distance here.
3rd down and 4. Isom throws quickly, and I don't know if the defender got a hand on that, but it was good coverage from Pekarainen. Irola, the intended receiver, and just like that, it's 4th down, still 3 timeouts remaining for the Butchers.
Yeah, exactly. And this pass was thrown so that the defender really couldn't make the catch, but Pekarainen was awfully close to making that play.
It is 4th down. Isom in the gun, Snugs formation. He will look to throw. Pressure off the edge, and he completes to Irola. 1st down, Porvoo, as Isom stares down the pressure and delivers a strike.
Yeah, exactly, Joe. Had to stare down the pressure. The Steelers haven't gotten home often in this game, but they did on that play. But Irola, who's also had some drops in this game, sure-handed that time and goes out of bounds.
Trips to the left now. Isom in the gun. Looking that way. Throws a dangerous pass, incomplete.
Yeah, and again, if you're the Steelers, you're not going to give anything up easy in the middle of the field because the Butchers have those 3 timeouts. They're not afraid to use them, and the priority is keep them out of the end zone. But they have to tighten up on the edges here by the sidelines. That's where Irola camps out at the top of your screen. He's a big factor here. J.J. Jones Jr. is in the slot.
He's been the favorite target of Isom, has Irola, throughout this game. Irola wide to the left as Isom rolls right and once again has running room. And he takes it out of bounds at the 25.
Yeah, it's going to be short. No, he has a 1st down, so move the
Marker was right at the 25.
You just wonder how much time is left here.
I would have to say, Dave, there's a fair amount of time. The one play where the clock ran was the run by Powell. So if you account for a minute coming off outside of the 2-minute warning, there should be about 40 seconds at least.
Yeah.
And they're willing to run it here with the 3 timeouts. Powell inside the 20. And I think Porvoo would have to take a timeout here, and they will.
I just heard the whistles come up, so yes. And Joe, I can tell you that timeout is being called with 53 seconds left. So there's still plenty of time.
Sure is.
With 2 timeouts remaining.
Yeah, if you're the Steelers here, it's tough not to be demoralized right now. They gave up a touchdown in, by my count, 4 plays on the last drive.
Yeah, 4 plays plus the penalty, right?
Yeah, I think it was 4 plays plus the penalty. It was the play with the penalty, then they committed a pre-snap penalty. They had the completion, a run for the touchdown, and there's one play I'm forgetting in there somewhere. I'm forgetting a play in there somewhere, but regardless, it was a very short-lived possession for the Butchers in which they scored in about 1:20, which in itself is semi-unacceptable to allow a touchdown in that time frame against a team that in this game has relied so heavily on the run. You know, you hate to surrender a touchdown that quickly.
Yeah.
Especially in a situation like that. Now, with the onside recovery, the Butchers get good field position, and you're backed up inside the red zone again.
Right. A lot of pressure on this defense to stand up in a game in which they had a 14-point lead with 3 minutes and 18 seconds left in the game.
Trips to the left here as we await the official giving the green light to resume play. He's currently positioned over the football. You can hear chants of Kuopio from the home crowd trying to will the Steelers to the finish here. We are set to resume action. 2nd down and about 4. Porvoo driving for a potential game-winning score, and Isom will keep it. Isom looking for room, may have picked up just enough for the 1st down.
Yeah, it looks like he got hit into past the 1st down, so that'll move the sticks, and I think Butchers are calling another timeout. Yes, they are. So they're down to 1 now with the ball inside the 20. And let's see if I can get a time check here. 47 seconds, Joe. 47 seconds left.
Yeah, I'm interested to see them run it again there, leaving them with just the 1 timeout. I thought maybe you run it there, and if you pick up a first down, you have a second play call. They do stop the clock when they respot inside of 2 minutes, right?
They do, yes.
Okay.
Any first down at any point in the game.
Oh, and any first down all game?
Yes.
Okay.
And then the whistle starts the clock.
All right. With that stoppage of the clock, I would think maybe you call 2 plays in the huddle, but with the 2 timeouts remaining, you can see why they called it. I just hate to be down to 1 timeout with potentially 2 sets of downs upcoming, and it really limits your ability to run the rest of the way.
Yeah. Well, they have the 1 timeout left, 47 seconds, and 14 yards away from the score.
Watch the outside on the left, an out-breaking route left side of the field here. Isom looking right. It's a jump ball for Powell, and it's incomplete. I thought for sure they were setting up something on the left, and they fooled me because they were looking jump ball to Powell.
Yeah, and I followed what you said, Joe. I was watching Sepinen, number 11, on the play, and he did break out. He was heading towards the sideline, and he was kind of open, but wouldn't have went for a lot of yards, but 2nd and 10.
We saw early in the game they worked an out-breaking route out of a trips look. That was a bunch look. They're in the trips look now. Sepinen in the slot, nearest to the line of scrimmage. Powell, the motion man. And looking left is Isom. There it is to the back corner, and he connects with Sepinen for the touchdown.
Well, he was the wideout on the last play. He's the slot receiver on this play, and it's a pretty easy route, Joe. You go 7 yards and start breaking for that corner pylon. The pass has to be perfect in order for this hookup to work, and it was. This was a drop in the bucket into Sepinen. Nice catch with the sideline bearing down on him. Not quite sure what's going on here as we're following the white hat. Was there a flag here, Joe? Or are they looking back at that to make sure Sepinen had a foot in? They don't do replay here, but let's just take...
Well, Dave, you have to think that if thousands of miles away as there was a penalty and it was against the Butchers.
It might have been after the play, though,
I think
Joe.
so.
Yeah.
I think so. I think it was an unsportsmanlike conduct after the play, but...
And that's important because this is a huge try here, whether they go for 1 or 2.
That is massive. You're right.
Yeah. I mean, this is a chance to win the game.
But you have to think, Dave, if we knew from thousands of miles away that they needed to look for an out-breaking route toward the corner of the end zone, you'd have to think the Steelers had a hunch that that might be the play. It was the same exact look they scored on earlier.
Joe, they're going for a 1-point conversion for the win, potentially. And it's a 35-yard kick.
This is not a gimme, but this could win it. For the lead.
It's good.
And it is good. The Porvoo Butchers have erased a 14-point deficit in under 3 minutes and now lead it by 1. And Dave, we'd have to assume that there's probably 20 or 30 seconds left max.
I'm trying to find it, Joe, and I can't right now. So
yeah, I know you're on that play-by-play.
Yeah, I don't have. Oh, okay. Time left, Joe, 35 seconds. So the Steelers do have some time. They have 2 timeouts left as well.
They have time, Dave.
And they have gotten great, return after great return as well. So if they can get this return up to about the 50 or 40, 45, 50, they'll have some chances to heave it down the field. Jarman can get it there. So this game's not over.
Certainly not. Certainly not.
Wow. And I think that was the 5th lead change of the second half, Joe.
It has been, I think by my estimation, it'd be fair to say, the best Maple League matchup that we've covered here on PDF during the regular season. I think that
this is
without a doubt.
This is a heavyweight fight that has gone 12 rounds, and it's not over yet.
We had that classic in the playoffs.
Yeah, that was a nice one.
Sure was. But this one's not over.
No.
And the Steelers certainly are going to have an opportunity. 2 timeouts and just over 30 seconds, some of which will come off on this kick. Now they kick it short. If this goes out of bounds, that's problematic. Steelers have to scoop it up. It's Mack. Mack looking for room, and he's going to take it back toward the near side before he's finally brought down just inside of the 25 now.
Hate to say, they lost a lot of time on that. That was a good 10, 15 seconds that ran off the clock.
Yeah, that's a lot of time they lost on that return.
Once that ball hits turf, that clock starts to run.
And I think you're probably hoping that that ball ends up out of bounds if you're the Steelers, but that was well executed by the Butchers. And we mentioned it earlier, but credit to the special teams units on both sides in this game.
27 seconds left.
Game on the line for the Steelers with 27 to go, and Jarman throws incomplete. Marshall had a chance, but Kaye was there, and he had help on that play as well. He was not the only Butcher, as Bill Spanin was there as well.
Yeah, and you could just see the Butchers and where they are on the field, that they are going to hang 2 and 3 guys back. I mean, you got one deep safety at the 50 right now. But I still think if you're the Steelers, you got to put this ball up very deep. It can't be 10 and 15 yards anymore.
It's a screen pass, almost blown up, but now Mack has blockers. Mack across the 40, he's across the 50, and tripped up just shy of the Porvoo 45-yard line.
And they're going to call for timeout, I would assume, even though the clock stops to reset the sticks. I'm going to guess they're going to call a timeout, and they are. And forget what I said before, Joe. Maybe you don't have to throw the ball up deep when you have a guy like Mack in open space. And, that's actually a pretty smart call because you have, half of the Butchers' defense playing 30 and 40 yards behind the line of scrimmage. If you're able to make 1 and 2 guys miss early, that's what you get, 30 yards there on 2nd and 10. And now you really need 20 yards to get at least a try for a field goal here, and Pekka has the leg to do it. It's just a matter of does he have the accuracy. Remember last week, the 2 that he missed from long range had plenty of distance. It just was off.
And we had to establish that we weren't speeding up the replays last week with how he was drilling those kicks.
Right.
Jarman will look to throw. Pressure coming from the backside, and he just got that ball away.
Yeah, that might have impacted the throw, too, because it looked a little bit unorthodox on the way to Kuopio, who was trying to break towards the sideline, and that kind of just short-hopped on him. So it'll be an incomplete pass. Joe, I lost you again. Joe, lost your audio on a big
Dave,
moment.
I was speculating,
Okay.
how much time could they possibly have left with how long that screen pass took to develop?
Don't know. Few seconds left.
Yeah, I don't think they have time for 2 plays. They're going for it all here. Jarman heaving it downfield, and he is intercepted to seal it.
Wow, and Joe, I think that's it. I just saw the
Kapu
official.
Weeha with the game-clinching INT.
Yeah, and I think you're right, Joe. I think that had to be the last play because Jarman looked awful desperate trying to get this ball down the field. They stayed stacked up. We're going to watch it one more time before we make this one final on your screen. But, wow, what an entertaining game. And somehow magic pulled out of the hat again, and the Butchers doing some butchery things, Joe, again.
Continuing to butcher the competition as they remain unbeaten here on the PDF Sports Network, unbeaten in the 2026 season. And Dave, this loss is nothing short of devastating for the Kuopio Steelers. There's a good chance these 2 teams will meet again down the line in a game that carries with it championship implications during the playoffs, but boy, For a Week 4 regular season matchup, I'm not sure it hurts much more than this.
It does not, Joe. And these two teams will meet again, and it will be on PDF Sports Network. We told you this a little bit earlier in the season that they made up twice. We're not going to miss it twice. And this one fit the bill. 85 points between these two teams, separated by one, a 14-point deficit for the Butchers in the second half. They somehow, with 3.5 minutes left, come back and win this one 43-42 on probably one of the more improbable plays of the game. A 35-yard extra point is the difference in this game. You can't make it up, folks, and this was a classic, back and forth the entire way. What a game we were treated to on this Friday night, and it results in the Butchers staying perfect as we've seen them the whole way through here on PDF.
All right, Dave, your audio was in and out for me during that last piece, but I think I caught the tail end of it. Nonetheless, the takeaways for me from this game, if you're the Steelers, I think you've proven what many already believed about this team. You can compete with the best that the Maple League has to offer. They did that against the Butchers, the defending champs, and by all metrics, the favorite to repeat coming into this 2026 season. But it's also disappointing. I think while you proved you can hang with a team like the Butchers, and I think we knew that already coming in, it doesn't really mean that much if you don't come away with the W. I think in the grand scheme of things, it probably doesn't matter in terms of whether or not we see Kuopio in the playoffs, but I do think that this one hurts, and they will get another chance during the regular season. And I think with the loss in this game, whether or not they have a chance for the 1 seed is really all that you lose having dropped this game. And if you're the Butchers, what we learned is this team certainly has no quit in them, that's for sure. But they really do it all. And when it comes down to making the big play late in games, I don't think any team in the Maple League has been better the last 2 seasons. And the Butchers proved why they're the favorite to repeat and really showed out as the defending champs, stealing a game on the road against a team that gave them all they had.
Yeah, Joe, and they just don't flinch, and I think that's the term that I would use to describe this Butchers team. They just don't flinch. They don't, they don't panic. You don't see them play nervous offensively and defensively. Look, they gave up 42 points in this game, and defensively they still made some plays, including the last play of the game, So, they don't lose heart. They don't flinch. They're champions for a reason. They proved it here again tonight, 43-42 in a game you have to see to believe, and I hope people go back and rewatch it because it was a classic, probably the best one we've covered on PDF, maybe of all time, definitely in the Vaahteraliiga's regular season, and we get to do it a few more times and at least once between these two teams. That's exciting.
It was certainly a blast covering this one, and we have more for you here on PDF all season long. Our Maple League Game of the Week series continues next week, and as Dave mentioned, another good one coming up next week. I don't have the upcoming schedule, Dave, but I know you do somewhere on the screen. I think we have the Roosters and the Butchers?
No, we have the Saints and the Royals. So we have
the Royals. So
we'll
our first
see the
look
Royals
at the Royals
for the
next
first
week.
time. We'll see the first time for the Royals, who are undefeated and on a bye this week. And they'll face a team, the Saints. We talked about the Roosters with a must-win this week, Joe. They play tomorrow. How about the Saints with a must-win on their agenda as well? We'll see that one next week.
A lot of big games on the schedule for the rest of this weekend, including the big game here on PDF next week between the Saints and the Royals. But until then, this has been Joe Foreman alongside David Pizzuto on the call. It is a win for the Butchers as they steal one on the road in Kuopio. They improve to 3-0. The Steelers fall to 2-2 on the year. We're back next week with our Game of the Week, Tampere and Vaasa, coming up in 1 week's time here on the PDF Sports Network. Until then, those celebrating in America, enjoy Independence Day tomorrow. Thank you to our entire audience worldwide for tuning in, and enjoy the rest of your holiday weekend.